Hey everybody, hope you guys are doing well. It is officially the election night for the Minnesota Democratic primary. There's also the governor's race in Wisconsin that's going on. So I'm pretty excited. We have a fun show for you guys. I'm here with Gen X Girl from X. She's actually on right now as well. Hey Gen X Girl, thanks for joining.
Hey, excited to be here.
Excited to have you. So, yeah, we're just going to basically give a lot of commentary. There's been a lot of money in this race, guys. This is the race between Peggy Flanagan and Angie Craig. Basically, AIPAC and Angie is what they've been calling Angie Craig. And right now, it's basically neck and neck. If you've been following along this race, it's really a toss-up at this point. There's $35 million in this race. I'm not sure why it's not getting as much attention. Maybe it's because Abdul Al-Said is Muslim and there was all of that sort of thing behind the scenes, but I feel like this should have got the same amount of attention, don't you? The next girl.
Sorry. No, I absolutely agree. I mean, particularly since the Israel lobby has had, the same amount of focus on Angie Craig in this race as they have with Haley Stevens. But I think that they've been operating at an advantage here in Minnesota because, like you said, people have not been giving it the same amount of attention. As we talked about before, I mean, aside from what we see on the FEC reports and after the primary closes and obviously the general election, we'll find out even more because they do late reporting a lot of times to circumvent, real-time reporting. But in addition to that, there is
things just came in. Oh shit. Okay. Well, no, this is fine. I got I'm getting too excited. This is out in kind of like Douglas County. So this is far out from the city. So it's expected Angie Craig is going to perform better there. But
okay.
We just started getting some things. Guys, I'm nervous. I'm already, this is just starting. I could tell this is going to be a nerve-wracking night. So sorry, Gen X Girl, go on with what you were saying. I'm going to probably randomly interject here.
No,
you
that's
said
fine.
you were looking into this race, and I have, as this continues to come through, I have vote log, and I did the same thing, and I actually pulled the FEC filings. If you guys go to my website, vote log, and I have all the money that's spent. But you know a bit more about the dark money. Over $35 million has been spent on this race. $9 million for Peggy Flanagan, over $26 million for Angie Craig. A lot of that is coming from outside PACs, and one of them, which is this dark money PAC that's kind of funding all of this, is North Star Dawn PAC. And one of the biggest donors to North Star Dawn is Civic Progress Fund, and it doesn't list Civic Progress Fund as a dead end. You don't actually know who owns this or where the $7 million came from. Have you been looking into this?
Yeah, so I've been looking at it so there's multiple layers of dark money. There's those that they are funneling into these other PACs, right? So Civil Dark Fund and all this kind of stuff, right? So there's tracing that money. And then there is another way that they've been doing these dark money campaigns, which is through this website called the Pro-Israel Network that gets processed through a payment processor called Democracy Engine. When they got outed last year in the fall, they went completely dark. So whereas you could trace the money as Democracy Engine through the Pro-Israel Network and could see the one-to-one relationship, after they got exposed through responsible statecraft, they went completely dark. So now what I was able to find was, through archives, 46 separate dark money campaigns for Angie Craig alone in the Minnesota race. So this is like a really obscure layer that is going to require a lot more digging to see how, where that money finally, how did they funnel it?
Well, did you see that video? It's the Peggy Flanagan, Angie Craig video where Peggy Flanagan just calls out the fact that Angie Craig is basically like a puppet. And she's like, Angie Craig, this is what I hate that they started doing. This is the video. Is now what we're starting to see is these puppets they know that it's embarrassing to take AIPAC funds. So they don't want people to know that they take AIPAC funds. So what they do instead is they act like they're not while AIPAC is fully backing them. Here, let me play this video. I don't know if you've seen this clip before.
Ridiculous. AIPAC has not contributed at all, the PAC, to my Senate campaign. Not one penny.
And I think it's important, though, to note, I want to tell you what's going on here. Congresswoman Craig just said that, she's taken no AIPAC PAC money, but they've held over a dozen fundraisers for her, including one at the home of the head of AIPAC in this election specifically for the Senate, because they understand who their candidate is in this race. AIPAC's candidate is Angie Craig.
So they're basically, what's going on is they're embarrassed to take pro-Israel money. They're hiding it, but at the same time, they're just shoving this money into the race, and nobody even knows. You know what's even crazier? And I made an article on this too. Is that if you go to VoteLog and you click Insights, you get to, or I recently did an article, and AIPAC is lobbying against an anti-money laundering bill. It's trying to put forward basically a new bill to basically hide where people's money comes from even more. Let me see. It's the here it is. The AIPAC lobbied the Pentagon. And they have to basically report what AIPAC is doing they have to report the specific bills they're lobbying on. And one of them was the Repealing Big Brother Overreach Act. And basically what it says is this bill has no apparent connection to Israel. It would repeal the Corporate Transparency Act, the anti-money laundering law that requires companies to disclose their true owners to the Treasury Department, and would order the government to delete the ownership data it already has. Basically, if anybody starts a company, it could be even some people from Israel. They don't even need to be U.S. citizens. There's no way to figure out that these owners are not U.S. citizens. The government has no way to figure it out. So they have no way of enforcing laws that non-Americans aren't allowed to donate in U.S. elections. And AIPAC's pushing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to what you're talking about earlier, is that, that because it's become toxic, that they are now, finding all sorts of ways to try to hide it, and then fighting, these bills that seem sort of obscure. Like, why are you, fighting these bills? But obviously it has ties to this. And if you look at how they hide money and how they divert money to different PACs, to individuals, directing individuals, we've seen emails literally directing people to go onto these pro-Israel network websites and donate to their people. And they literally have campaigns, and they literally, like she was saying, the individual on the video clip that you just showed, that literally lists, we're going to have a fundraiser for AIPAC candidate Angie Craig at such and such person's home. I mean, these are all literally there, but what they're trying to do is hide it so that when you get the FEC report, you can no longer see AIPAC attached to this funding. But on the back end, the candidates will be able to see it. AIPAC and their network will be able to see it. So then when they actually go to lobby for things that they want, they can show how much, they've actually donated to those candidates.
Yeah, exactly. And they do. It's all so slimy the way they're going about it. For everybody who just joined in is asking who is winning so far. No, we have no idea really. Only less than about 300 votes have came in from a county far out from the city. So we're waiting. We should be getting a nice big vote dump on the Republican side, which doesn't matter. I mean, Minnesota's been blue for decades. Michelle Tafoya is the one who's currently leading, which is kind of expected. That wasn't a surprise there. It's really this race here that kind of determines who ends up being the next Minnesota senator. And no, it's worrying me now. I don't know. Have you been following along? I really haven't made any videos touching on this, the Wisconsin governor's race, because I don't know too much about this lady that's running aside from the clips that I'm seeing. And a lot of people are, I don't know. Have you been seeing, this is a Thanksgiving girl. Have you been seeing some of these clips?
No, I actually haven't. There's so many races going on. It's hard to keep up with all of them.
Okay, so that one I've really been not keeping up with the Wisconsin governor one too much, aside from these clips that just keep going viral of this lady. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see how that one goes. She's there was a clip where she said that, she went viral for saying something about Thanksgiving should no longer be a thing, and then she walked it back and she said actually that's not true.
what's her name? The Democrat. That's the
I think her last name is Hong.
Hong. Yes. Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
It's right here. Let me
Yes,
go actually and
yes.
see how that race is doing. So this is the here it is, Francisca Hong. So okay, it looks like David Crowley is in the lead right now. We have some votes coming in for that race. He's at about 42%. So another big thing about not just this, not just the governor race, or not all of these races in general. What I think it's really going to show us, and it's kind of worrying me about the general election, is are progressives able to win? And was the Abdul Al Said race, was it just a one-time thing where it was neck and neck? Can we have a progressive win against a moderate by like a landslide in the Midwest? I don't feel like it's fair to use what's happening in New York or the East Coast or the West Coast as synonymous for the average American everywhere else in the United States. I think that this is what I'm most excited to see if whether or not they can actually pull it off by a landslide. Because if they can't do it by a landslide or by good margin, I don't know. Have you been concerned about the generals when you think about that? Like the Abdul Al Said race, it's kind of been it makes me worried to see if he's going to be able to pull those moderate voters in.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I don't know. I'm not necessarily, because this is such a like anomaly year, right? You've got like extreme polarization. I would almost say like it reminds me of like 2020, right? Where there was just extreme Trump fatigue, and there was but in 2020, and then obviously in 2024 later, there was the Democrats also just completely messed up in so many different ways, that even though in 2020 they won the president, they didn't have like the clean sweep that they were expecting. 2024, we also know that they completely botched it and then lost everything. So I don't know. I mean, it all depends. I actually see a lot of energy with these
these progressive candidates.
Progressive, yeah. I don't want to call them DSA because they're not all DSA, right? So like I'll say it is not DSA, but progressive candidates, there's a lot of excitement, but at the same time, I am not going to underrate the ugly attacks that will happen. So that's the anomaly for me that really worries me, because simply because of what happened to Graham Plattner. I mean, regardless of the accusations, which I think, again, everybody should, give those people credibility and follow through. But the lack of, police report, the lack of, any sort of documentation, and the very swift just destruction of his campaign was just very, you know what I mean? It was very unsettling.
They were, even before all of these, the latest things came out regarding with the women, they were kind of on him from the very beginning. And they're doing the same thing with Abdul Al Said.
Yeah.
And they're going to do the same thing with Peggy Flanagan, or who, depending on if she wins or not. This is kind of what they're doing now. I've been telling a lot of people who've been following me for a while, is that right now they have Republicans on their side, so everything's going to be fine. But the America First Republicans, the ones that are pretty Israel critical, that are not going to support Israel unconditionally, those are going to come into politics eventually. I think they're going to come in 2028. We're going to see a few congressmen on the Republican side. So they're holding on as much as they can. They're going to keep pulling this whole communist thing, this this anti-American thing for anybody that doesn't support Israel on the left. They can't hold out forever. It's gonna happen on the Republican side too eventually. I was hoping it would happen in these midterms, but it doesn't seem like it is.
No, and I agree with you. I think that the way I've been seeing the progression, and just my opinion from watching it, several years now, is like I call like 2024 the come to Jesus moment on the left, and I feel that 2026 is going to be that for the right.
Oh, it looks like we just got some more votes coming in. Okay, now it looks like we got a city vote. Seems like Flanagan was able to kind of pull back up there, so that's good. But still, this is like so little, so we can't really make a conclusion from any of this. We just have like 1,200 votes so far. I think it's going to be a pretty tight race. We'll see. But
yeah.
You know what else I'm really happy about is that I want AIPAC to spend as much money as possible and still lose, because I want to drain them. Like, you can't tell me that AIPAC spends $60 million on the race between Abdul Saeed and Haley Stevens, and that doesn't that doesn't hurt them for the generals. It's not like they have unlimited money.
Well, and I agree with you. I mean, it isn't unlimited money, but how far will they take it, right? And it's the big donors, really. How far are they willing to take it? Because that's really what pulls, all the donations. I mean, the small donors, they're there, but they don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers of small donors. They do have very, very, very large multi-billion-dollar donors, right? That donate. But here's the interesting part. Ronald Lauder?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if
he's the Zionist who was also the one. There was an article that he was like pressuring Trump about Greenland as well or something. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, him. So just last week, I read an article. I don't know if it was the New York Times or Washington Post. It was one of those, the big ones. That talked about how in this election cycle he has not donated at all, and he is one of those people that is known to donate a lot, and so he has not donated, and it's because the Estee Lauder, the company that he owns, their shares are tanking, and he doesn't have money. So his kids literally, told him he's not allowed to donate anymore. He's got to stop.
Oh my gosh. And then here, I'm going to interrupt you for a second and just say, guys, we had some more votes come in now. Still not too many. Literally, it's less than 2,000. So very, very, very small. But we have Peggy Flanagan still in the lead. And now we're getting some votes from Nicollet County. We have some more votes from Murray County. These are, further out. So we're not in the city now. And she's getting those votes that you're going to want to see. You want to see, we're going to expect that Peggy's going to get a lot of votes, a lot of purple here in Minneapolis. That's expected, especially around Duluth, because they're the cities. Now, is Peggy going to be able to also pull it off in the more rural areas? We're already starting to see a little bit of that now, so hopefully that continues. And we kind of see a very spread. We want to see big purple centers in the cities and then spread across the rural areas. Angie Craig, you're going to see more of this light green here in the rural areas as the race goes on. But so far, I mean, you can't infer too much from just 2,000 votes. But okay, we're getting a bit more coming in. There we go. And now it's starting to shift a little bit, I think that came from a rural area as well. So I think so far I'm feeling relatively okay.
It looks like Francesca Hong is still in second with 5% of the vote, but it's getting kind of close. There's a 4,000 vote margin.
You can do this by clicking. No, I think so far so we're gonna see here. Let me go to the Wisconsin race that you were mentioning. And
I'm looking at decision tests, so my numbers might be a little bit different.
And then I have this thing called Streamlabs. I don't know why it's doing that. I have an AI the website that moderates your chats, because I was getting so many Israeli spams, but I don't like the way it's moderating with these random things. But let's go here to the Wisconsin one. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't look like Francesca Hong is doing too good. She's down by about 9 points here right now. But again, still 6% of votes are coming in. This race, I wouldn't consider what's happening in this Wisconsin race as indicative of progressive everywhere across the country, because this race specifically, Francesca Hong has been getting a lot of they've been using a lot of different attack headlines against her that they weren't using against somebody like Peggy Flanagan, for example, in Minnesota. It's interesting, Gen X girl, because you're not the only one who I've talked to a lot of people about this race, and everybody I talked to about the Minnesota Senate race, I'm surprised that it's not getting massive media headlines, because this is just as big as the Wisconsin. This is another Senate race of an AIPAC shill up against somebody that actually, that's just simply not bought out. I don't know why. I was pretty shocked. I don't know. But I guess it's fine as long as as long as AIPAC's not going to come out the winner. That's okay with me.
I think part of it also is, the focus, like you said earlier, on Michigan. There is a lot of, the factor that, I'll say it is Muslim. plays a lot into the media, plays a lot into social media, pundits, all this kind of stuff. They, as you've seen post election, the insane campaign that Muslim terrorism and communism is taking over. You know what I mean? There's this element to it that I think caused a lot more people to focus on that, even initially when that rhetoric wasn't as prevalent as compared to Minnesota, which is you just don't have that element, And and I actually kind of find it ironic because I think you and I were chatting about this before, because I looked at the election numbers and specifically to Dearborn, Michigan, where the Arab vote resides in Michigan. And you had 30% of the registered voters even vote. It was such a small amount of the overall 1.4 million voters that voted, and the registered voters that voted was only 37,000. It was so small, but yet that's not what the media headlines are,
Yeah, no, and it's really irritating, the voter turnout thing. So I've also been concerned. The reason they were able to get Thomas Massie in his Republican primary in Kentucky, if you looked at, it was totally by age. The breakdown was totally by age, and over 62% of the individuals that voted in his primary were over the age of 65.
Yeah.
More than half were over the age of 65, determining the fate of the country for everybody else. That's how disproportionate the voting block is. For those under the age of 25, it was like less than 3% of the total votes in that primary.
Absolutely. I see it all the time, and it's unfortunate, especially on social media, because you see younger people getting so worked up about things that, rightfully getting worked up about things that are going wrong. But yet, when you talk about calling your, congressional representative or a senator because, to tell them to not vote a certain way or to vote a certain way, or if it's get out the vote, the response you get is, sort of this like black pilling, oh, it's all, what's the point? It's all messed up, blah, blah. So you just don't have the same level of, you have a lot of, as I see it, and I hate to phrase it this way, but I feel like a lot of people complain a lot, but it doesn't translate into participation to fix it.
Yeah, well, I agree. I'm hoping that this changes soon, especially with I don't know, especially with these primaries. See, this is the one thing, and because Hassan Piker's been getting a lot of media attention recently, I think that is one of the main things that I do appreciate for his presence, is the fact that he's at least able to get young voters to actually just like come out and kind of engage a little bit more. Aside from all of the, all of the headlines that are coming out and all of the polarization, it's nice that there's somebody, he has a massive base and he's actually able to pull people and get them to come out. And I'd say that's at least, that in of itself to me is kind of a win right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that if you would get more and more like that eventually,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. So let me go here. Yeah, it doesn't, the Wisconsin governor's race, Francisca Hong is second right now. David Crowley is it seems like he's kind of ranking ahead there. Let me just quickly refresh here so we can see where we're at with the Minnesota race. Last elections with the Minnesota race, it was all done by midnight, so they were able to get the votes counted a lot faster than Michigan. So far, it's still too early to kind of make a prediction, but I'm feeling good. Even though it's early, you can kind of tell if it's going to be a very massive, if it's going to be if it's going to be one of those races where somebody's just going to win by a landslide, or Angie Craig was just going to do it. You would kind of at least be able to tell from the first like 4,000 votes kind of where things stand. And right now, it's not the worst, and they're kind of getting a mix. They're getting votes coming in from a mix of different places in the state. So let me see here. What else is kind of going on? What are the other key races that are coming in right now? And we should be having a speaker joining us as well. That's going to be hopping on. So right now we have Minnesota, Wisconsin, which we've been following along. South Carolina, I think a lot of you guys have seen now that Darlene Graham has advanced along with Ralph Norman. Darlene Graham obviously being Graham Plattner's sister. has advanced in the South, in the Republican primary, and this is in South Carolina, and this is the one that Trump obviously was endorsing. He told her that she should run, and she said herself, and this is, it's so irritating. She comes on and she says herself, "Oh, my goal is that I really want to advance Trump's agenda." First thing she says, I just really want to advance Trump's agenda. And as if this is supposed to, I thought you're supposed to represent, advance America's agenda. I don't think this was a thing prior. I don't think it was a thing that people come into their party and all they think about is advancing the president's agenda. It wasn't this bad before. They actually, Congress kind of had a little bit more autonomy from the president in this way. This obsession with just wanting to abide by Donald Trump. There weren't Republican presidents before, or any president before for that matter, that would try to, beat politicians out of Congress if they don't abide and stay completely in line with what he's trying to achieve. And I think that's why he's been so effective with the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, South Carolina is just one of those, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about South Carolina and how they vote. They have a lot of active voters that are, Trump only, and just kind of forget or dismiss, the lack of representation by their lawmakers, particularly Lindsey Graham. I mean, the man won his primary before he died, and he was an absolutely horrible senator to the state. Didn't represent them at all, but. It is what it is.
It looks like more votes have came in. Now I'm starting to feel pretty good, guys. So we have 4% of votes now. Total reported 33,000. And Peggy Flanagan is doing real good. She's doing pretty good. Again, it's just 4%. We can't get too excited. But this is what I've been telling you all. We want to see exactly what we're seeing now. We already know that Peggy Flanagan, being a bit more progressive, is going to win the city centers very well. We kind of expected that. What you really want to see, which tells you, okay, she's doing well, is you want to see something scattered like this, where you're getting Peggy Flanagan being the purple here. You want to see it scattered, not just in the city centers, but you want to kind of see it across, and we're starting to see that already. And I mean, she's up right now. It's 56.7% to 41.6%. Again, we still want to wait. It's only 4% of votes in, so there's still a lot going on. I mean, they could do a massive mail-in ballot drop and everything changes. But now, I'll take it. With the data we have, with just 33,000 votes, I'll say that this is so far making me take breathe a little bit more. So I think this is a good thing.
Did you live streamed the Michigan race, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I mean, yeah. So I'm kind of like, I'm going to be a little bit more pessimist and just wait a little bit, but I love your energy because it makes me more positive. Because of it was such a shock. Do you remember Al-Said was leading, double digits leading. And then all of a sudden that massive vote drop happened. And then all of a sudden they went to almost 50-50.
Yeah, I do remember that. And that one really
crazy.
Scared me.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then after that, it was just like a nail biter the rest of the night.
So no, that's true. Thanks so much for the super gift, Ryan, Helen. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. No, that's true. So things could really change, but so far I'll take it. Let's see what the Kornacki guy is here to say about this race, if he's mentioned it yet.
5,300 vote advantage for Crowley. From Hong's standpoint right now, the best numbers that you're seeing on this map, I think are numbers that put you just where you'd need to be, wouldn't give you much margin for error. So there are numbers that say has a chance, but not numbers that certainly the idea that she was going to win this thing big or run away with it early. I think that's been settled. Won't. But again, if she's at that just what she needs level / missing only slightly in a few places, again, depending on what's to come here, and if she can run up the score in parts of Dane County, the sky could be the limit on what she gets out of there. And
yeah, it's still too early for that race. We'll see. I want to go back here to the Minnesota race. What's actually, this is what I find so crazy. The fact that we can even have politicians run in these races, like this Peggy Flanagan one, the Abdul Al Saeed one, the fact that it took AIPAC $60 million and he still won. And sure, you could say, oh, it was tied. I personally think that he would have won by I think he would have won much closer to what the polls had predicted if it was a closed primary. I think that there was a lot of Republicans that came out in Abdul Al Saeed's race because of the fact that they just really wanted to vote against him in spite, even if they knew that voting for him and him winning, the polls show that it might make it a more tight race between him and Mike Rogers versus Mike Rogers and Haley Stevens. I don't know if you were seeing on X the entire month before the Michigan primary, Meghan McCain was going on X glorifying Haley Stevens. Did you? I don't know if you saw that. She's like, oh wow, she's really starting to change my opinion. I'm really starting to like this. And I was like, wow. So if Meghan McCain, the staunch Republican, is out here now glorifying Haley Stevens, imagine how many other people in Michigan that are Republican were already like, okay, well, this race with Mike Rogers, it's going to be safe for Mike Rogers. He's going to win. We already know he's going to be the Republican nominee. If I was a Republican and I was like super, Israel above everything, and I already knew that Mike Rogers was safe, I feel like I would be more interested in just making sure Abdul doesn't advance just because of the fact that he's against Israel and he's Muslim versus trying to strategically make him win. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I agree with you. I think that there is, and it's hard to know now, but I definitely think that was in play. I mean, look at Michigan's 8th district that on the Republican side, they had a guy who was a Trump. I don't know if you saw that, but he was, and this is just kind of goes to the Islamophobia issue in parts of that state. But in the 8th district, there was a guy named Amir Hassan. He was a...
Oh, I saw that. He
saw that, right?
Yeah, he was an African American. He's an African American. He grew up Christian, but he grew up Muslim. He converted to Christianity.
Yeah, and hardcore Christian, and was Trump endorsed. And the guy, as soon as he got his endorsement from Trump, his opponent dropped out, as they all do, when that happens. And the district elected the guy who dropped out. I mean, it just kind of tells you. And, I think Shadow of Israel has a post that has some clips of the reaction to his, I think if you scroll down a little bit, it might be, I don't know if that's the post you're looking at, but it'll show you some of the comments from Truth Social when Trump endorsed him. And there was just a lot of backlash. Gives me a pause.
I don't trust anyone with a Muslim name. Yeah, I was seeing a lot of that. And this is a guy that's a Christian. He ended up losing to a guy that wasn't even running in the primary. He paused his entire campaign and he lost. So that
kind of gives you a little bit of a, window into because it was an open primary, were Republicans voting for Haley Stevens because they, that was the, the preferred candidate to Al Saeed. So
yeah, and maybe for the Minnesota governor's Democratic primary, Amy Klobuchar is really, making it by a landslide right now so far. Again, only 4% of votes in, so there's still a lot to, a lot to come in. But I mean, with that much of a margin, so far it looks like it's good for her. I don't know if you saw, I'm not the biggest fan of Amy Klobuchar at all. I don't know if you saw when Lindsey Graham died, she immediately was like, hey, thanks so much for being such a great friend, Lindsey Graham. And she was glorifying him while he's this Republican staunch war hawk. So let me go ahead, and it looks like we just have our guests on. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Hey, thanks so much for joining.
Sure. Hey, Wally, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm trying to, let's see if I can get these screens always there we go. Try to sit right in the middle there.
No, it's great. Oh, well, I appreciate you being on, especially because of the short notice.
Sure.
Everybody, this is Nate. And then how do you pronounce your last name for me?
Yeah, it's Bluin.
Nate Bluin, thanks so much for joining. Yeah. State senator, and you were also just in a recent race not too long ago as well. So you're kind of already in kind of the primary mode, it seems like.
Yeah, I ran for Congress here in Utah in a new deep blue seat we've got, and unfortunately came up a little short. And we're going to work on that in the future. And I think we've got some good chances here. But also spent some time in Colorado for Maylot Kiros's race. That was super exciting. She's going to be fantastic. And then was also in Detroit for the Michigan races last week, and I'm really excited about. Of course, Abdul and Donovan McKinney, and then Chris Gilmer Hill at the state level, and some other folks. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff going on, and I think tonight's going to be exciting as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we have, I mean, they just kind of started counting. Only 11% of votes are in, but so far for the Minnesota race, Peggy Flanagan is ahead. And Peggy Flanagan, of course, she's the non-AIPAC bot politician. Angie Craig has a lot of dark money in this race. And the spending in this race, and I kind of wanted to ask you, Nate, just in general, the spending in this race is 2-1, and we still have Peggy ahead. And Abdul Al-Said's Michigan race, I think the spending, what I was reading, it was about 80 million total. Abdul Al-Said's campaign raised 16 million, and Haley Stevens raised over 60. And even with that, it was neck and neck. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on, our progressives. One, it seems like they're doing pretty good so far in some of their primaries. They've had some losses, but are they going to be able to? What are your thoughts on these more progressive left-wing candidates actually being able to excel in their general elections? And have you been thinking about that recently? There's a lot we're seeing from the right, especially even actually among some Democrats, stating it's not going to be possible. This is not the way the party should be going. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, we hear this all the time. We saw in Utah a couple of years ago, they tried to run an independent candidate against Mike Lee for a U.S. Senate seat, and he came up 10 points short and still spent several $1,000,000 on that race. And we hear a lot about these electability concerns. And what I've been telling people, and what I think is true, is that electability is just a proxy for who has the most money in the race. Of course, that's what we saw in Michigan with Haley Stevens. And hey, credit to Haley Stevens. I never thought I'd say that, but she's really rallied behind Abdul.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that, actually. Yeah. She's been a lot more supportive than I would have expected, especially just kind of given, the politics. I thought the AIPAC thing was going to be a hard line for her to even consider being so in support.
I'm surprised, and I'm pleasantly surprised for once, seeing that camp really come around, and we'll see how far that goes. And the amount of money spent in that race was just atrocious, though. We shouldn't be seeing that, especially in primaries. Bernie Sanders had another attempt yesterday. I think it was, he sent an open letter to the DNC or to leadership saying, we as Democrats need to reject super PAC money and corporate money in our primaries. And there's the way that super PACs work. There's no way to actually do that. That's considered free speech without an actual change in. I think that would have to come from the Supreme Court, at least as far as the overall policy goes. But we do need to change something, because we can't keep seeing these situations where we see almost $100 million ending up being spent in Democratic primaries, really to beat up on progressives. And yeah, from that electability perspective, I mean, my judge of it is that you just see the candidate who is willing to accept the corporate PAC money, that's willing to, I think, do things the easy way. It was how I would consider it, rather than going out and building a massive coalition of boots on the ground to go out and knock hundreds of thousands of doors. In many of these cases, you're seeing candidates be called electable just because they're willing to go out and take a bunch of big corporate checks and play along with the super PAC spending. And to me, people are seeing through that, and it's a real shortfall that they're going to have. And I think in the general elections, we're going to see that manifest when we have those candidates who people see as too attached to the billionaire class, as supporting data centers and things like that. I don't think it's as straightforward as just selling yourself as a moderate to be considered electable. I think it's really about connecting with people, being genuine and authentic, and actually speaking to their material concerns, not just continuing to say the same old things that Democrats have been saying for a long time, because at least as far as a Democrat myself, I'm sick and tired of that.
Yeah, absolutely. As a state politician, do you probably, how much does corporations and just outside spending play a role in state politics? It's not a big deal at all, or?
No.
It is.
It is. it's a big Utah. I can't speak for every state, of course, but Utah has no campaign finance limits. So, if a lobbyist wanted to cut me a check for a state Senate campaign for $1 million, they could put that straight from a corporate account into my campaign committee. Of course, I've never accepted that. I would never get that offer because I'm not going to play along with them. But it's just to say that you could, we do see like the governor has taken $50,000 contributions from major companies and things like that. And so you do see a big influence here, at least in Utah. Some other states, I think, have a lot better policies in that space. Montana has been doing a lot of work actually Montana and Hawaii have been trying to change the definition of a corporation so that they are no longer considered a person under the laws and can't donate just like any other individual can. And I think, they may run up against constitutional challenges there, but I'm glad to see them trying because it is really corrupting. And I mean, from a perspective here in Utah, there's a legislator in leadership, in minority leadership here in Utah that wants to run for Salt Lake City mayor, and their entire recent campaign contribution list is all corporate PAC money. This is a Democrat, all corporate PAC money, and they want to run for mayor of the most progressive city in the state, which is a very blue city. And I'm sick and tired of that, and thinking and people thinking that they can represent individuals who are struggling day to day when they are not actually even going out and seeking support from those people. They're just trying to do things again the easy way by taking big checks and advertising on TV and doing things as we have seen the playbook be for far too many years now.
Yeah, and I think it might have, there was a time where that kind of worked out, the days before social media when people kind of just didn't have access to the information we do. I think now, and, they try to, I feel like mainstream media, well, now they're really starting to come around to it when it comes to the conversation of Israel. They're at least, mentioning what was previously just like an elephant in the room. They keep trying to make it seem like the Democratic base is torn on Israel, but the base really isn't torn on Israel at all. The divide is between the politicians.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because at the state level, I still don't hear a whole lot about this. I think a lot of lower level politicians are still trying to kind of stay out of the conversation, which is kind of crazy to me because this is like an 80-20 issue amongst the base, at least, and even across party lines. I mean, I think there are, a very significant proportion of Republicans even that are sick and tired of seeing money get spent on bombing people overseas and in support of foreign wars that are raising prices here in our country. So this is not something that I think politicians at any level should be shying away from at this point. And I don't understand that tactic because it has become such a common sense issue. And I think it's good policy. It's good politics. Those things, of course, don't always line up. But on this issue, I think we're seeing it does. And I think it's, my congressional campaign launched in November of 2025. That kind of happened overnight with a court decision here in Utah. And to go from the state level, where again we weren't really talking about it, to the federal level, and to immediately be kind of bludgeoned into talking about this issue in a good way. I think it's good that people wanted more out of me on that issue than I'd been willing to get into as a state politician in the past, because it really opened my eyes to how people are feeling about that. And I think it just hasn't, for whatever reason, really permeated down to some of the lower level races. But I don't think there's any reason for people to be shying away from it. I mean, we do have an anti-BDS policy here on the books in Utah. So if you're running for state office in Utah, you have a very clear thing that you can talk about, that you would say, hey, let's repeal this anti-BDS legislation. And if you can communicate to people what that actually means, then I think you're going to find yourself in a good place that you're able to get votes from both sides of the aisle.
Is the BDS legislation or anti-BDS legislation, is that like the Utah's government can't work with any companies that decide to boycott Israel? Is that what the legislation is?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And it extends to some other interesting pieces of like companies that are boycotting firearms manufacturers and some other, I mean, it's Utah. It's just like, all the stereotypical things you hear about Utah, I think are tacked into there, where it's like if you're involved in boycotting companies because they're staunch environmentalists, then you can't do business with the state, or something along those lines. So it's pretty wild stuff.
And where do you feel like where do you see the Democrat Party kind of moving forward? Because there's a rift. The Republican Party, they have their own rift too, but the America First movement in the Republican Party hasn't taken hold in their politics yet. I think it might in 2028 later on. But in the Democrat Party, that rift's already, that change in politics has already begun. So how does the Democratic Party unify from here on out? And where do we go from here? It seems like the base kind of knows, but how does the Democratic Party still, get because I'm assuming they still need the donor money. I feel like that's kind of what the holdup is it not? Like,
oh, I think you're right. That's really sad. But I think that's not far from the truth. And again, this is where it gets so hard is, there's the old trope about the Jewish faith, members of the Jewish faith controlling the banking system and things like that in the United States and around the world. And so it's really, it is hard to get at the root of this without falling into that trap, I think. But, it should not be controversial to equate separate Israel from AIPAC and things like that. I mean, those are two very different things. And of course, focusing on the money and politics piece, I've seen so many people just immediately equating, oh, you're only talking about AIPAC, and it's like, there aren't politicians that are only talking about AIPAC. There are politicians who have seen that AIPAC is, I think the reason AIPAC gets targeted is because it's funded by very conservative interests. They do not focus on pro-Israel advertising. They focus on whatever they think is going to be effective for whatever politician they're supporting, which a lot of the times means making moderates look more progressive, which is an interesting dynamic that bubbles up. And so I think we've got to continue to really talk about that in public to raise awareness. And again, it's very uncomfortable for folks who have not had to do this before, which is to say, like when I got into the congressional campaign, I was pretty quickly labeled anti-Semitic by a local rabbi. And I'm like, I've never said anything that I would consider, or I think most people would consider to be anti-Semitic. I heard from plenty of other members of the Jewish faith that were like, you're on the right track. Like, don't listen to this guy. And that's very uncomfortable though. Like,
what was the reasoning? What did you say?
Just AIPAC. It was just like this trope about AIPAC and the banking system and money in politics and, only focusing on AIPAC. And of course, I was not only focusing on AIPAC. It's just AIPAC is a very clear example of conservative, big moneyed interests steering the Democratic Party to the right. And there are so many other examples of that. But AIPAC has done it in a way that's very deceitful, by using all these front groups, by shuffling money around and using progressive entities in some cases to steer their priorities and really shape the Democratic Party in a more conservative direction. So
how much did they spend on your race?
They did not spend directly. So there was a joint fundraising committee that popped up earlier this year called the Better Blue Fund, which as soon as I saw it, it was obvious what it was because it was attached to Wesley Bell, who is one of the largest AIPAC funded candidates in the country. And it was, my opponent was included on it. Dan Goldman was included on it. And if you looked at who was contributing to it in very large sums, many of them were current or former board members of AIPAC itself, or somehow, otherwise very closely attached to that sort of wing. And so they spent in that way. They contributed in that way. And then artificial intelligence got pretty deeply involved. I think I think it was Think Big, which is one of OpenAI's, kind of front groups.
Yeah, it's been crazy seeing how much there was that one race on the East Coast. It was like known as the AI race, where OpenAI what was the race? Who was it?
Alex Borez.
Yes,
I know Alex from our legislative careers, and he's a good guy, and he's an interesting case because he'd worked for Palantir at one point, and he left. Out of a good conscience decision. Like he did not feel comfortable with the work he was doing, and he was able to when people questioned him on that, he was able to prove that look, I realized several years ago they were doing bad things and surveilling Americans and really creeping into our lives in ways that are not appropriate. And so I left. And then he ended up writing, fairly stringent AI regulations in the state legislature in New York, and so they targeted him very heavily and successfully, or at least he lost that race. I forget what the exact outcome was, but I mean he was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He had a lot of other progressive endorsements. We shared a lot of endorsements actually, and yeah, that was really disappointing to see. I forget how much they dropped in that race. It might have been in the closer to 10 million sort of range. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Are there any other races this midterm that you're like a little bit more excited about than average?
Yes, Sam Forstag up in Montana. That's going to be an exciting one. He's already won the primary.
Okay, awesome.
But he's Bernie and AOC endorsed, Congressional Progressive Caucus endorsed. He is a wildland firefighter. He jumped out of airplanes to jump into harm's way and to fight wildfires out here across the West for several years. He's a union guy, really interesting candidate. I think the last poll I saw had him basically tied up for a congressional seat in Montana. And so I'd like to get up there before the general election at some point and knock some doors and help raise some awareness, because he spent a winter here in Utah ski bumming several years ago. I think we chatted at an event several months ago, and he seemed like a really good guy. So that's one I'm excited about. And then was it next week? We've got Florida, 2 weeks, whenever that is. The Florida primary is really interesting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Well, thanks so much for chatting. I really appreciate it. It was nice kind of hearing your thoughts on things as well. Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. I appreciate you coming on.
Happy to. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Wally, and look forward to keeping an eye on the races tonight. It's going to be some interesting results.
Absolutely. Take care.
Yeah. Okay, see ya.
Yeah. All righty, everybody. Let me just go back here and we can keep up
Wally,
with the race.
you need to check the Wisconsin governor race. It's tightening.
Is it? Oh, really?
It
Okay.
is. It is. We're talking 1.43% difference.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is starting to tighten. This is interesting. And well, it depends. Let's see. Where did they finish? So 74% of the votes are in Milwaukee, because we want to see where she's going to really, outperform. And I find it interesting that actually David's been performing better in Milwaukee. So she has Madison. Is Dane County a younger county? It must be. Oh yeah, where the state's
Dane
largest
County.
University is. So 73% of the votes are in there. So there's still more to go. Eau Claire, that's also a college town. I do know that. So it seems like clearly she's performing well in the college towns. She still has 30% of the votes in those spots, which is good because those are big. There's going to be a lot of votes coming in from there. There's also a graph here. Let me see. It's right here. Votes left. And it'll tell you where the majority of the votes left are coming from. Okay, so actually, it's nice to see this. So Madison and Dane County, a lot of votes are still remaining. Over 40,000 votes are remaining there, and she's outperforming there. Eau Claire, a decent amount, just 6,000 votes. So it's really Madison where she's outperforming. Now, the thing is she going to be able to pull enough in Madison that kind of helps her keep the lead? It seems like there's still a lot coming in Milwaukee. It seems like so far David has a pretty big lead, just by 3%. But 74% of the votes are in. So unless there's a big dump towards her, seems like, yeah, it's kind of honestly right now, it looks like it's a toss-up. We'll have to wait and see a little bit. The size of lead here. Interesting. It kind of, it's reflective of the party. The fact that these races are neck and neck. I don't know. I haven't kept up with this race as much. So I don't know how much money is on each side in this race. Have you kind of looked into the money a little bit here?
No, but I'll look at it while we're
so
on.
it's been interesting, and I find it interesting that total write-ins is 50% for Fond du Lac County. That is crazy. What was going on there for Calda Roy's? I don't know, and I don't know the backstory behind these write-ins, but I think that's pretty interesting that it's coming all from just one spot there. And then you're watching this, you know who. If you want to start the hookah and bring it downstairs, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So, listen. I'm like, the last midterm live stream I did, I had a hookah and I was smoking hookah, and I actually have pizza with me right now. I'm gonna wait and see, because last time it was 5 hours. I don't think this one will be that long, so I don't want to eat in front of you guys right now until I get like super hungry. But it was fun. It was like a fun little chill thing. But okay, cool. It's nice to see that this is kind of like, okay, 60% of the votes are in. Oh, well, she gained a little bit actually from this recent vote dump. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they keep the spread keeps going between 5,000 to about 8,000. You know, it's going to be pretty tight.
Yeah. So if we go to the Minnesota race now, 15% of the votes are in now. Peggy Flanagan. Oh, wow. Okay. I like this. I like it. So Peggy Flanagan now is at 51.7%. AIPAC Angie is at 44.9%. That's a good lead. Now, it's still 15%, but it's what I've been saying is what we're starting to see. Peggy Flanagan being the darker purple here, is we want to see exactly what we're seeing now, guys, which is like a spread of purple. We don't want it just based in the city center. We know she's going to do well in the city. Obviously, Rochester, you know, the city there, we know she's going to perform well there. But can she get these more, you know, these far out counties, more of the, you know, more of these sort of places? That's what's going to tell us she's performing well and strong. And it seems like that's what's starting to happen now. And look here, oh, some more votes just came in, still more of the same. No, this is good. Now I want to see if the dark purple, Nicollet County, she's performing very well there, and only 17% of the votes came in. That's a good sign. Olmsted County, where Rochester is, only 1% of the votes has came in. And she's also performing really well there. In Rochester County, I think we still have a lot from Minneapolis that we're waiting on. We still have a decent amount from Rochester, but it's really Minneapolis where we have to kind of wait and see. And that's where we want to make sure Angie doesn't really pull through. But so far, it looks like Peggy's performing really well in the Minneapolis area. Curious to know why we're seeing Angie kind of get the outskirts here. I guess these are the more like suburban areas, the richer areas. Seems like as well. I grew up actually in Minnesota. I grew up in Burnsville, Minnesota. If anybody watching this is from Minnesota, I'm from Burnsville near Eagan. So, of course, I had my family vote for Peggy Flanagan, but we'll see. So it looks like, what is this? Some guy named Billy Nord is performing in Pine County. Billy Nord, it looks like he's some sort of third-party candidate. That's kind of interesting to see there. AIPAC Angie's going down. Absolutely, guys. Let's do it. So that's nice to see. And let's see how these other races are doing. So Ilhan Omar's race, want to see that as well. Minnesota's 5th congressional district. Ilhan Omar is, wow, okay, so she's doing it. She's vastly in the lead there. She's 3% of the votes are in. But I mean, with a margin like that, unless there was just like one massive specific dump, you know, I think she's going to be safe. Republican primary here, John Nagel, but you know, these Republican primaries for a district like that, it's a very solid, strong Democrat district. And then let's see what other races. What's going on here in Connecticut election? What is this? The Democratic primary for governor. Now, I don't know too much about this race here. Ned Lamont versus Josh Elliott. Ned Lamont looks like he won by a vast margin there. So let's go. Let's see what's going. Let's go back here to Alabama special primary election results. So we're seeing a mix here. I don't know if you've been, I've been really following the Minnesota race here. In Alabama, we're seeing a mix here as well. And then let's go back and see if we had another dump in Minnesota. So 15% of the votes are in now. Peggy Flanagan is in the lead. If I was Peggy right now, I would be feeling very, very good. I'd be feeling especially good knowing that we still have a massive vote dump from Hennepin County. Less than a 1% of votes from Hennepin County are in. Less than 1%. So this race is like what you're seeing right now with Angie Craig at 44%. I'm putting it out there now. We'll have to wait and see. I think that this separation is going to get bigger by a lot because a lot of the votes still have to come in from Hennepin County here. And so far, what we're starting to see is that Peggy Flanagan is in the lead in Hennepin County. And again, just very, very little votes. Now, unless there was just some sort of like, dump of, of mail-in ballots or something to where it's going to kind of skew once we get the more election day ballots, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I think things are going pretty good for this race, which is nice to see. Cichlid, Peggy Flanagan is I guess the anti-AIPAC or, the non-AIPAC bot politician in the Minnesota Democratic Senate primary here. What this race is also going to show, guys, is that if we can really pull this off, AIPAC is, they might have thought that the Abdul El Said case was just, an outlier. But what this is going to show, if Peggy Flanagan can really pull it through, is that it wasn't just an outlier. And what we're starting to see is that, that Americans, at least within the Democratic Party now, they've really fed up with AIPAC. They're fed up with foreign interests. They're fed up with sending their money to bomb kids. They don't want to see it. And the fact that we are even having tight races like this, when again, it's somebody up against millions and millions of dollars, goes to show, how much the times have changed. I'm really happy to see that. So thanks so much, Christopher, for joining as a member. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you. AIPAC L today. So we'll have to just continue to wait and see what's going on. Let me go here on X and kind of see how people are feeling about things. Amy Klobuchar wins her primary. That was expected. I'm not the biggest fan of Amy, but whatever. So she won there. Now let's see how things are going here. And I already read to you guys this the Bernie Sanders tweet. Here's Peggy Flanagan. She posted 8 hours ago. I voted Minnesota. Have you? This race is about a choice. We want our leaders to serve the many or the money. Make your vote heard. So it's nice to see that times are starting to change. Laura Loomer is losing her mind. And I think if Laura Loomer is losing her mind, then it's a good day. And Laura Loomer posted tonight, Ilhan Omar, Islamic communist friend. Francesca Hong and Peggy Flanagan will achieve massive victories in their prospective Democratic primaries. Follow Laura Loomer as we unleash the live election result. And she's probably losing her mind right now, talking about jihadism. It's like plaguing the United States. Lady's crazy. Oh my gosh. She's losing her mind, I think. And she's actually, and anybody that's struggling with mental illness, I think we've all been there. But Laura Loomer, she's in a level of just just truly psychotic. It's not like it's just happened. She's always been this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got issues.
So
severe.
It's crazy. It's just seeing her go on her tweet rampages. But so right now, again, we're still at 15%. I want to go back to this Wisconsin race to see where things are at now, because it looks like there might have been a little bit of a change. 61% of the votes are in. Oh, wow. Are you seeing this? It's very tight now. 41.1. They're only apart by less than 5,000 votes. Okay, yeah. We just got another big dump. It's still about the same, 5,000 votes. I'm pretty shocked. Wow. So I want to see the size of lead here. Francesca Hong is the purple here. And again, there's still a lot of votes left in Madison, lots of votes in Eau Claire. Let's see. Yeah, big amount of votes in Madison. It really comes down to, Milwaukee. There's still lots of votes left there as well. But the thing is, David Crowley's really not so much in the lead. He's only in the lead by less than 1% there. Or maybe 1.2% there. So, it's not going to be able to cause a massive shift that we're starting to see. It's if there's a lot of votes left and there's a big lead is where things are really going to start to pull through. Looks like it's gotten 39.9, 41.1. So again, just very, very small there. Yeah, and it looks like it's getting a bit smaller too.
I just sent you a post on your DM. Just check this because this is curious because again, it's polling data on the Wisconsin governor election. And if you look at the second image in that, look at where Hong is polling going into the election. This is like a repeat of the Michigan Senate race, right?
Oh, she was
Like,
ahead in the polls.
Yeah. And it just makes no sense, right? Because so it's like you have to really question the integrity of polling as we've moved to purely online polling rather than traditional polling. That there is severe, integrity issues with these polling data because they're polling a certain segment of, a certain age group that may not necessarily translate to votes.
Well, is Wisconsin an open primary?
That's a good question. Let me see.
Because I'm really, I wonder if we're just having Republicans go into these races and decide, you know what, like, I'm a Republican and I already know my race is safe. I'd rather stick it to the leftist, communist, jihadist Islamists, and they'll just go ahead and they'll vote in opposition to that. This is the thing, and this is just something I view as fact now, that people are ideological voters. They're not strategic voters. I'd say the vast majority of Americans are ideological and not strategic, meaning that you'll get a lot of Meghan McCain's, where Meghan McCain would have rather voted for Haley Stevens, even if it meant that Haley Stevens would have been a closer race between her and Mike Rogers, versus voting for Abdul Al-Sayed, knowing that maybe Mike Rogers would be more ahead based on the polling or something. You know what I mean? And I wonder if we're seeing the same thing here.
It is a open primary.
It is open? Okay. Is there any states, are there any states recently that have had closed primaries? And I wonder where they lie with their polling. I wonder if their polling is more in alignment.
Yeah, that would be curious. I know that Virginia is a close primary.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it looks like it's getting even closer now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
What do you have on there? Decision Desk has it at a 0.50 difference, half a point.
Wow. Okay.
Is that what you have? Yeah, yours is about close. Yeah, same.
So let's go. And then I want to see Minnesota change much yet. So 16% are in. Peggy Flanagan is still there. She's in the lead. 52.1% to 45.3%. And if we see votes left, again, we still have a lot of votes from Hennepin County. Less than 1% has been tallied in Hennepin County, which is going to do really well for Peggy Flanagan. I want to see how Core Mackey is doing right now, because we know that guy loves to freak out a little bit. I wonder. So for those who don't know, Kornacki, I like to listen. I like to just plug in because he's the mainstream average. And if you guys have been following the Kornacki race, the Michigan one, you could tell the entire race was basically how much more does Haley needs in order for Haley to win, not how much more does Abdul need for Abdul to win, or how much more does Abdul need to stay in a safe margin, or it was very like Haley centric. So I wonder here when we see these races, how he's going to be, and if he's going to be an Angie Craig centric centered type of person, or if he's going to he tries to be half like he tries to play it off like he's unbiased, but I feel like I've picked up some bias. Let me see. Where is this race?
I was going to say, we expect that to be. So, look, Stevens Point, university town right there, right? Okay. Winnebago, I don't know what to expect. Brown County, the 17,000 should be, you would think, more favorable to Crowley, but a lot of it's that vote by mail, and I don't know about that. Same question in Milwaukee. Huge question in Milwaukee with those 27,000. Racine County, close to 20,000 left there. I think that, if you're Crowley, is a very hopeful number, because I think he's expected to do he should do quite well there. The precincts that we have, he's doing well there. 11,000 left in Waukesha. So if you're Crowley, those two places right now, a combined 30,000 votes between Racine and Waukesha County, where I think there's some reasonable expectation he could net some votes out of that. His margin there sitting at 3,200 statewide. So he could get some out of Racine and Waukesha, certainly. I think Hong is looking up here at Portage County and thinking she can net some votes there. I said we don't know what to expect with the 17,000 here. We got the mail question, the vote by mail question, the mystery in Milwaukee and in Green Bay. That's not all that's left in Brown County. There could be some other areas of Brown County there that are favorable to Crowley. And then we got 27,000 at least, right, left in Madison. I keep saying Madison. It is Dane County. But where the most recent update broke sharply towards Hong. And if it continued to break that way towards her, she could net she could net.
Thank you so much, Chunatu. And no, guys, it's not weed. It's just a hookah. I'm Palestinian, so if you guys have an Arab friend that they smoke hookah, it's like a thing. I only do it, by the way, midterms. I give it. It's a treat. I've told myself, because the Michigan primary went well, and I was like, okay, you know what? I think it's gonna be fun. I'll do live stream in hookah every single time there's like every single time there are primary and midterm elections. So this is gonna kind of be my primary thing. You'll only see it come out during the elections.
4,000 or 5,000 more votes
tobacco, right?
over Crowley out of there.
So I think the race. What do you say? What'd you
No,
say?
no, no. I was just clarifying for you that it's just tobacco.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, just tobacco. So let me see here. What did I want to watch now? Wally, did you bring enough to share next time, Jimbo? I want to go back here and see. So 64%. Francisa's coming up. They're only apart. Oh wow. Okay, so they're only 2,000 apart now. Or wait, am I reading that right? Okay, no, a little bit more.
Oh my
God.
God.
It's very, very close.
Yeah.
And again, like, guys, she's really pulling through with Dane County. 83% of the votes are in, though, in Dane County. And we want to see where the votes are left. So we still have, Milwaukee, Waukesha County, and Racine County. Racine County, 3%, but who's ahead in these counties? Kind of hard to tell. So it's, I don't know. I feel like it's really going to be a toss-up. Right now, I'm kind of still leaning for David to win. But I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Just because I see a lot more, there's still a lot of votes that are left, and they're coming from areas where he is. So it's really like, is Madison going to be able to pull enough for her to where she's going to be able to overcome that? Eau Claire. And I'm not sure. So I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Let's go back to Kornacki here and see where he's saying.
Male in Milwaukee or in Green Bay, but she wants that Crowley number to go real low there for the reasons we've been talking about when it
got
was
another
cast.
5,000 out of Milwaukee.
Okay, let's take a look. So that's probably, there's still same day coming in. How did that break?
Is a tighter margin on that one. Let's see. She wins 41-38.
Okay, so we're still on election day, or we're still on non-central count.
Yes.
Right. Again, so it's just, this is a thing that's happening as we're doing all these calculations. Makes it 32-22 statewide. So
let's go here and go back. Okay, so we got another dump. That's gonna be okay. She's still picking some up, so it's gonna be interesting. I want to go back to this Minnesota race here. And we'll refresh. So we're still at 16%. Minnesota's taking a bit longer than I expected. 16% of the votes are in, but if I was Peggy, I'd be feeling pretty damn good in Minnesota right now. Somebody's saying SC 3412, the Burbs will put him over. I think you're right. Thanks so much for the new subscriber quota, I believe that was there. Appreciate it. And then I do want to go and kind of see. Yeah, so I don't know. This is crazy, Gen X girl. Like when I see the polls, like how is this?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know what she just sent me, or Gen X girl, if you just want to kind of repeat what you were telling me about what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so this is polling data leading into the election. And as you can see, all of the polls show that Hong is in the lead. Like this should be like a blowout, right?
Yeah.
Similar to the Al Said situation in Michigan. But come election night, these are very, very tight races. So like it just, polling data is really like screwy now. And I read recently that it's because a lot of these polling companies are going straight online polling. And so one of the questions that they had, it was after the Michigan race, was that, by going, solely online, you're definitely missing the older vote who, older people vote more. They are, a solid voting block. And so if those people are not online and not doing these polling, this could explain why they're so skewed one way. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, no, and I am going to look later to see if I wonder if the fact that it's an open primary, how much of a difference that makes. I wonder though, just because this is the case, how should we expect the general elections to go? Like, is it always going to be skewed that the left is going to be it's going to look like the left is overperforming in all of these polls? Is that what we're going to kind of expect then?
I mean, if if the issue is that they're polling younger people who don't necessarily turn up to vote, right? And therefore your polling is completely like wrong, you're going to have to continue to have that problem, right? So you've got to make adjustments. But here's the problem that I was talking to you about, with the Michigan primaries, from what I heard from people who are, like get out the vote, like Democratic operatives who were like on the ground, trying to get people to vote and stuff like that, and also get donors to donate for, things like advertising and things like that. What these, very, very flawed polls do is give people a false perception that this is going to be a landslide. So what they were experiencing was, donor dry up, because the response they were getting from their donors is, oh, we don't need to donate to Al-Said. He's got it. This is going to be double digit, landslide. Well, that's not what happened. So, hopefully donors don't, make that same mistake for the general and realize, and if I was, an operative and I was going out for, trying to knock on doors for donations and things like that, is, really start hammering that you cannot depend on these polling data. It's just too skewed.
No, absolutely. And we see 17% of the votes now are in Minnesota. Guys, it's looking good. Peggy Flanagan. Flanagan's an interesting last name. I think we can come up with like a fun rhyme with that. Flanagan. I don't know. Not to come, but this is good to see. 21%. Okay, we just got a big drop. And how's the drop doing? So it looks like with 21%. Okay, I'd say that if I was Peggy, I'd be feeling really good. But again, I don't want to get too excited. But guys, we're seeing exactly what we'd want to be seeing if you were Peggy Flanagan as a more progressive candidate, more to the left of Angie. I don't even know what that means, the left, right, up, down. But what the way we view it mainstream, more to the left. This is what I would say is a really good map. You want to see a lot of purple, what Peggy Flanagan is in these rural areas, which is what we're getting. Because if you can win the rural areas over, and you have a more left approach than this moderate that's Angie Craig, well then, what's that? That really tells you, okay, you're not just getting the younger voters, you're also getting, you're getting the rural areas, you're getting the less college educated voters. Those are the ones you really want to make sure you're getting. You don't want to just be getting the college educated young voters. I'd say this is a really good sign. It
looks like the at least it'll be interesting to see it for that Senate race as well. But I'm looking at decision desks, so they have this Polymarket Kalshi like side window, which it annoys me that we depend. We're moving more and more towards what are the betting markets doing? But it is kind of funny to see it live, because the betting markets in the Wisconsin governor race were the bets were 84% Crowley, and now they flipped to 60% Hong. So this is kind of interesting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so it's 66% of the votes are in now for the Wisconsin Democratic primary for governor. David Crowley is just a sliver ahead at less than 1%. I mean, 0.4%. It's just really less than we have here, just less than 3,000 votes or so. Is he going to be able to pull through? So far, Francisca Hong again. 83% of the votes are in Dane County, where Francisca's really pulling through. Basically, what we want to see if you were Hong, you'd want to see as what we're seeing here is that her Dane County votes, is that disproportion there that's benefiting her. Is it going to make up for the losses that she seems like she's having in the Milwaukee area and these counties around Milwaukee? High income suburban counties seem to be favoring David Crowley, is what we're seeing, again, in more suburban counties, while younger voters seem to be going for Hong, with 67% of the votes now are in. We click vote share here. You can kind of see a map. So this is kind of what I was saying, guys. And actually, it's nice when you see this and you compare it to what's going on in Minnesota. This is what I say when I said that if you were Peggy Flanagan, this is a perfect way to kind of tell the difference. Right now in Wisconsin, Francisca Hong is the more left-wing politician. And what you're seeing, what you don't want to be seeing if you were Hong, is you don't want to see over-reliance on city centers. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Eau Claire, Madison, Wisconsin. You know, so we're seeing these big pockets, Kenosha, in city centers. But we're not seeing too much purple in the rural areas. You have some, but not as much as you'd like to see. Now go to Peggy Flanagan. And Peggy Flanagan, she is more of the progressive politician. Yet, even as more of the progressive politician, you're still seeing her pick up these rural areas, and she's not just relying on Minneapolis. Actually, even outside of Minneapolis now, this just changed, guys. I don't know if you guys have been checking here, but if you go to Washington County, this is a good sign for Peggy. Washington County was initially, Angie Craig was in the lead. And it looks like 83% of the votes are in now in Washington County, and Peggy Flanagan is now in the lead. Now, for those who don't know, Washington County, you're starting to get more of that suburban area we're starting to see. Now, south of Minneapolis, Dakota County, this is where actually I grew up, Dakota County. They're neck and neck. 94% of the votes are in, 49.5%, 49.4%. If Dakota County, I'd say it's like a, middle class, maybe upper middle class sort of county. Just depends really on the area. I'd say middle class is a good word for that. And if we're seeing a neck and neck with a progressive candidate, I'd say that's really good. And she's doing really well. So I'd say Peggy Flanagan is doing well. This Wisconsin one, it's neck and neck. I mean, look, we just got another big dump here, and now they're only just 0.1% away. So Gen X girl, this is a pretty big deal.
This is I'm excited about this Wisconsin governor race. Like the close ones are always like, ooh.
So what I hope for, cool. And if you're following me and you're wondering about like what kind of governor to do when it comes to issues regarding Israel or whatnot, the number one thing they could do is just try to gut out these anti-BDS laws. If you believe in the First Amendment and you decide to boycott a foreign country like Israel, well, guess what? You can't do any sort of work with the government if you decide to do that in over 37 states now. A governor can come in and they can try to push for some changes there. Obviously, it would have to go through the state legislator, but that's where a governor can kind of come in and make some changes in that sort of thing. When it comes to anti-BDS policy, that's what we would like to see. That would be a really good thing. It looks like, again, 70% of the votes are in. Yeah, go ahead, Gen X girl.
No, it's an anti-BDS policy. Also, Israel bonds, states investing in Israel bonds. Yep. I mean, they can have a huge impact on that. And that's a big issue across all the states.
I'd love to see James Fishback. Have you been kind of following along with that race in Florida?
I have. I go ahead.
No. I feel like you have an opinion.
He's just I don't trust him. I just he swings every which way. As loud as his anti-Israel rhetoric is. I've actually I've been in touch with some of his campaign staff, and recently actually I caught one of them, sucking up to these Israel influencers on X. And when I called him out, he instantly blocked me after literally a year of I'm anti-Israel and we're all one big tent, blah, 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 rhetoric. And so as soon as I see this, I'm like, hello, what happened to all the stuff that you just said? And so I don't know, there's something off about this man. And I think that as time will tell.
Well, he previously wrote a book he previously read the Barry Weiss's book, and he posted a photo reading Barry Weiss's book just a year, in October of 2023.
Yeah.
And then he shifted. Yeah. So it's a little bit, kind of concerning that he I mean, having that much of a flip from reading Barry Weiss's book to then going about and being, portraying yourself as this Israel critical, anti-Israel sort of person. It's a big flip to make in a year. Maybe if you're a neutral and then you go in one position, that's one thing. But to go from the opposite end of the spectrum to this way, I think that is a little bit odd. So far, though, I mean, honestly, I'm so anti-establishment now. It's so nice to see the little guy win. It just feels so that it just feels so validating. Like, yes, we can beat the system.
Yeah.
And so I'm at this point, I'm just kind of rooting for the little guy in so many cases. Even the Nate, the previous speaker that we had on, even when he was talking about that AI race, were you keeping up with that race much?
No.
Okay, so it was
one?
it was an East Coast race, and it was basically it was Anthropic versus ChatGPT. Anthropic is kind of pushing more of the like AI regulation. OpenAI isn't, and even races like that, it's nice to just see he ended up losing, which wasn't nice. But you always just want to kind of root for the guy that's fighting the system.
I just don't know in the case of Fishback if he's actually really. If he's genuine about fighting the system is, I think, the issue I have with him.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And then let's see, where are we at here? Okay, so she just went, no, not too much down, but we still have a lot of votes, decent amount of votes left in Madison. And we're still, there's still, let's see, Eau Claire, she has a lead there as well, which is nice to see. He has a really, really big lead in Waukesha County. Waukesha, yeah. And how many votes left there? Not too many, but Milwaukee County, there is. He has a small lead in Milwaukee County. Less, like just a little bit more than 1,000. So that's not too concerning there. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be neck and neck, but we'll have to see. She needs a really big dump, like a really big vote dump. And I don't know where she's going to be getting that from, especially because there's still a lot of votes left in these rural areas where it doesn't seem like she's performing too well. Douglas County, she's doing a little bit better. So that's nice to see. Let's see what you guys are saying. These AI companies, Dark Force versus Skynet, which one is better? Thanks so much for those who are following along with the live stream, by the way. If you guys want to support me, one of the best ways you could do that is by joining as a member. If you want to see more of my videos and more live streams like this, otherwise super gifts and chats do mean a lot, helps me do this for you guys more often. So I would appreciate it, guys. Let me actually go ahead and set a goal here while we're at it. There we go. And I'll host a Q&A for you guys too. A Q and a, there we go. And I'll give ourselves a 45-minute timer. There we go. Okay, cool. So I just set a goal there. Peggy Flanagan is up 18 points. If we go to the Peggy Flanagan, she's doing really well, guys. It's nice to see. 45 or 46 to 53. She's doing really well. I think she has it so far strong. Still 22% of the votes are in, so we just want to wait. But so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. Thanks so much, Kent. I appreciate it. Also grew up in Burnsville, Minnesota. Look at that. What are the odds? You do a great job. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the support. It means a lot. And let's see what the Kornacki cam is up to. I wonder if he's sweating now.
So not necessarily all of it. This is where we check. We find out, is it higher? But this is a lot of it. This is probably most of it. And so there it is. That's exactly, it's pretty much what Crowley wanted to get out of there, I would say. But if you're Hong, you say, okay, you just took your shot. Was that your best remaining shot, Crowley? 29-30. He's got something else. What else just came in?
We got an Iowa update. We got Jackson update.
Oh, this is where Rodriguez was leading the early count. Right. Okay, again, just small. But this is what I'm saying. From Crowley's standpoint, if he's doing this is the kind of thing that adds up. What was the other one you said?
Jackson.
Okay, yeah, small and right. He is, but it is like he gained some votes here, he gained some votes up here, he gained some votes down here. The opportunities for Hong are much, much more concentrated, right?
Yeah.
She is leading in Kenosha. Now,
but only by 489 votes. That's not big. It's really
Kenosha,
tight. But so far, if we go back to it, okay, we just got a little bit of a dump. Oh, and Peggy Flanagan doing good. Every single time I see these dumps, go Peggy, go. Go Peggy, go. Go Peggy, go. I love this girl. I want to go to Minnesota. I have a few races I want to go to for the generals, and I want to do live streams in person. I want to meet Peggy Flanagan. I do want to go to Georgia, and I would like to see the primary. I'm not John Ossoff, I'm not the biggest fan, but I keep bringing him up because I feel like realistically, I feel like he has a long career in politics, just realistically, and how much he's been able to fundraise and stuff. I keep calling his office. I've been telling you guys, I try to call his office and just try to, as much as I can without being annoying, to try to get him to do a little bit more with settler violence in the West Bank. He co-sponsored the West Bank Violence Prevention Act. The Michigan general election, definitely I want to go there in person. There's a lot of things I want to do. We'll see if I'll be able to actually do them. But let's go to this Wisconsin primary here. 73% of the votes are in. Now they're 0.56 apart. So still though, it's so tight. I'm very surprised.
Very. And there's several counties that haven't reported at all. I mean, they seem small, but there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
So Waukesha County, there is a big 17,000 votes are from there. Nothing's been counted. So it really depends. Like, we don't know. That could really be the county that helps her. And Oshkosh is how you pronounce it. It's Winnebago County. So, and we have no idea what's going to happen there, guys. And it is, so that could really be, it looks like that's a city there. And she seems like she's performing well in the city. So who knows? Maybe once we get that vote dump, she'll make the lead. I'm just noticing that now. So actually that's pretty, I'd say that's good. It kind of gives me, if I was her, I would actually really be hoping that she has a very big margin here in this one city. Oshkosh. So actually, yeah, there's still a lot of votes left there. So a lot of votes left there. Green Bay, there's a lot of votes, but so far, let's see, 47% of the votes are in, 13,000 left in Green Bay. He has a little bit of a lead there. David Crowley does. So in Milwaukee, surprised to see how much of a, how much he got out of Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
I would have assumed that the city center, he wouldn't have performed as well. Again, 74% of the votes are in. Yeah, but it's a lot tighter. If I was a progressive running in any of these races now, what I would really be prioritizing, and I think Michigan, Abdul Al-Said knows this too. Well, Abdul Al-Said, his race is different. He really needs to focus on winning the black vote. That's his number one priority, on the ground as much as possible and winning over the black vote. I'm really hoping Barack Obama actually ends up going on the ground with him. Otherwise, I think that race is like making me pretty concerned.
I think once he gets the Barack Obama endorsement, things are going to start looking pretty solid for him.
You think he will? So you heard that they spoke on the phone, right?
Yeah, I did.
So what's that? I didn't really get it. Well, like, he said that he hopes he'll campaign with him, but like that's it. Is it just we have to wait or type of thing?
Yeah, if that signals that he's going to do it. The Bernie, they're all going to come out. They want to, I was watching this segment on MSNBC between these the liberals, right? The liberal pundits. And then they were actually, it was just one of those off the cuff kind of conversations, but they were like, listen, they're all going to come out and go on the stump speech for these guys because they want the Senate. So it's not going to matter, whether you're center, you're left, whoever wins the primary, everybody's going to come out and start supporting them because all this talk of, the center revolt and it's nonsense because they're going to start whipping,
Okay, so yeah, I know, I agree. So we just got a little bit from Oshkosh. No, let me see it. Somebody pronounced it for me. If somebody pronounced it for me. Oshkosh is pronounced with a soft O. Oshkosh. Okay. Oshkosh. Anyways, guys, Oshkosh is starting to come in, and just like I said would be good for Francesca Hong is happening, where it's not a huge lead. We see a little bit of a purple there. She's a little bit ahead. Actually, no, that's pretty big, actually. That's 30%, but it's only 3% of votes in, so we want to wait. But what we're seeing is she is getting the vote in that area, just the first 3%. So let's hold off and wait. It could be mail-in. If she is able to keep that up, there's a lot of votes that still have to be counted from there, 16,000. And I think that's really what's going to pull her through. If it hopes to win, then the way she's going to do it is by Winnebago County, is by, you know, having a disproportionate amount of votes there. There's still a lot. I think that's what could take her in the lead there.
And right now, only 3% have reported. And according to what I'm looking at, like 27, she has a 27% lead. I mean, it's a small amount, but if it continues, this would really put her over the top.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And if she's, you know, and she wants to see what she's seeing now, which is like almost about 30% above, that's what she's going to want. So otherwise, let's see where else are votes left. Still some in Eau Claire. I think she might be able to pull through. We'll have to wait and see. I want to see what's going on here in Minnesota. Taking a bit longer than expected. Shucks, as in gosh. So in Minnesota, 26% of the votes are in, and Peggy, we just got a little bit more of a dump there. Peggy Flanagan is doing pretty good, 53.4% to 44.9%. She's up by like, what is that? About 18,000 votes, which is nice to see. And this is what you want, guys. Again, if you're a politician, the more Peggy Flanagan, the more votes that come in, the more I'm impressed by Peggy. She did a really good job campaigning. You're seeing a lot of purple in a lot of rural areas as somebody who's more progressive. That's a good sign. You know, Angie Craig, oh, wow. And this is really nice to see too. So initially, Angie Craig was performing well in the rural suburbs here. In Dakota County has now Peggy Flanagan in the lead, where I said I'm from. So now that Peggy Flanagan is even winning these rural areas, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. Things are changing. Michelle Tafoya has won the Republican primary. Amy Klobuchar has won as for governor of Minnesota. So we have those races that came in already. Still waiting here. Oh, wow. And she won. Oh, she has 90%. Only 26% of the votes have been tallied there. So we'll have to wait and see a little bit more. Let's go back to the Wisconsin race here and see what's going on. 75% of the votes are in. Still very, very close. Hard to tell. Still waiting a lot more votes from this county, from Winnebago County as well. And then I want to kind of go see what's going on social media right now. I feel like some people are probably losing their minds. This is Polymarket, so I'm not really in the mood to care what they say. Minnesota voters decide U.S. Senate. So Bernie Sanders earlier, again, like I said, he stated that today's the election day. Dark money groups are spending $20 million to defeat Peggy Flanagan, the most expensive primary election in Minnesota history. This election is about the people versus the money. I encourage all Minnesotans to support Peggy Flag for the U.S. Senate. So Flanagan, somebody stated Dakota County is part of Craig's territory. I know that because my Angie Craig is the representative for my family's district, for my parents' district, which sucks. And I've had them email her before. Obviously, she never responds regarding settler violence and why she doesn't co-sponsor the West Bank Violence Prevention Act and all this and that. Very, very pro-Israel. And she's not performing well in her own district. So this is really nice to see. I'm really, really liking it so far. Midas Touch stated Wisconsin Dem primary for governor looking extremely close. I mean, we can just look at that and see for ourselves here. David Crowley's getting a little bit more of a lead, but again, still, guys, we're waiting here on Oshkosh County, Winnebago County. Still a lot of votes there to come in. Only 3% have been counted. Thanks so much, guys, for the super gift so far. I appreciate it. If you guys want to help me reach my goal of 10 teal super chats, appreciate it. Helps me keep doing these videos for you guys. Let me see here. While we're doing this, I want to go back here to this Minnesota race and just let you guys know a little bit more of the breakdown. So Angie Craig, I don't think enough people dislike her, so hopefully I can make you just dislike her a little bit more after I show you her voting record. So again, I'm going to show you her voting record specifically on Israel. If you go to my website, votelog.org, You can see her entire voting record, and it's not like she's a politician where you can persuade. She's not a persuadable target. And this is calculated based on their voting record, their funding, everything else, right? And if you go to her votes and bills, it's not that, she's just voting in support of Israel. It's she's voting at the expense of American interests. She's doing things that you just really don't want to see. She's striking down every amendment, Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment and Thomas Massey's amendment to cut funding to Israel. We're seeing here Enhanced Iran Sanctions Act, United States-Israel Defense Partnership Act, Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. Now, this is one that that is listed as pro-Israel, and I've talked to you guys a lot before. These Anti-Semitism Awareness Acts are not good because they use the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, the International Holocaust Reliance definition. They're really trying to get as many representatives as possible to push this definition of anti-Semitism. And basically what it's doing is it uses certain criticisms of Israel as anti-Semitism. If you want to say that Netanyahu is Hitler, that is anti-Semitic under this definition. If you are a university student and you state that, that would be considered anti-Semitic. You can actually be, you could be in some trouble if you're stating that at a university protest. Angie Craig, she voted in support of that. So her entire voting record is basically just like an AIPAC billboard. United States-Israel Health Technologies Act. Let's see, what are some other really big contentious ones? Enhanced Sanctions on Iran Act. This one here. What is this? This bill creates a joint U.S.-Israel grant program to develop health technologies, particularly COVID-19 treatment and diagnosis. Interesting. So the AIPAC really, for all the money that AIPAC spent on her, they're definitely getting her money's worth for how much she's done for Israel. Somebody says, go Peggy, lots of votes yet to be counted, but I'm so hopeful. If we go here, more votes are starting to trickle in. Peggy Flanagan's doing really good with a really nice lead here. It's nice to see that. Really interested in what's going on in Pine County to see a third party just kind of in the lead there. But again, only 7% of votes are in, so maybe it was just like mail-in votes or something to that degree. If we go back to Wisconsin, so again, still really tight. 77% of the votes are in though. So, and this is crazy because they all said that apparently Hong was supposed to be ahead there. So we're still waiting for a lot of votes from Milwaukee County, a lot to come in. Winnebago County, a lot to come in there. And again, only 5% of votes counted there. And so if she could do well, okay, so we just got an update from Winnebago County, and it looks like now Hong is still above, but it's 48 to 36% now, so it's a little bit tighter, and we want to see the margin there as wide as possible. But again, that could change. It's only 5% of votes. Eau Claire, she's up 10 points there. Still very neck and neck there. These 46,000 votes have went to Kilda Roy's running third party, it looks like. Or sorry, no, this is Democratic primary. What am I saying? Joel Brennan. So this was a pretty big race. There was a lot of people running in this race. Total write-ins just 165. Tiffany won the Republican primary for Wisconsin. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Let's see what's going on with the Kornacki cam now.
Those are now the only two counties left in Wisconsin where there's more. Currently, there's more than 10,000 votes expected left. No, excuse me. Nope. I said that wrong. There's also Winnebago. Yeah, Winnebago, which. Okay, so we were starting to get a little bit more here. Remember that first, this is just precincts. That's why. That first update was Hong by 26. Now it's down to 11. So let's let this one fill in a little bit. But it's a huge, in the scheme of things, it's a huge piece of
Wally, I'll be right back.
Real estate. But we did just get some more, something else just came in that was friendly to Crowley.
Yeah, Marinette County.
Yeah.
1,200 votes. And he wins about 300.
And it must have been that update from Winnebago must have come in too. But yeah, again, this is just the small, demographically small counties that, yeah, there's still half the vote to come here.
But he still has a good lead there, but it's only, again, 226 votes. But still, we go in now, some more votes have started to trickle in, benefiting Crowley. It looks like, again, votes left. Winnebago County, Eau Claire. Thanks somebody for correcting the way I pronounced it there. I see you guys in the comments. Thanks so much for everybody watching. Mo Al Sharif, thanks so much for the gift. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the 440 jewels there. Let's see what's going on here. If we click vote share, this is just kind of a nice breakdown if you guys kind of want to see. And again, this is why Francisca Hong, I don't, she, like, again, you don't want to see a progressive over relying on the city centers. That's where you really want to see them kind of go out to the rural areas and win the voters there. And it seems like that's where David Crowley's been a bit more in the lead. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see how things are going. So again, 77% of the votes are in. I mean, let's see here. They're basically just, less than 2,000 votes apart, though. It's very, very tight. But is she able to, make up for that 2,000 there? And that's kind of the issue that she seems to be having. The size of the lead, 92% of the votes are already in Dane County, which is not good for her because she's very much so in the lead there. So we'd want to see, if there were still 70% of votes to be counted, something to that degree, that would be good. It would help her kind of get a leg up. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Milwaukee County, still 38,000 votes, and we go to vote share. It seems like Crowley is in the lead in Milwaukee County there, excuse me, by, just a couple, just a percentage point, really, just exactly 1%. So that could still, we'll see, unless there's like a mail-in ballot drop or something. So far, it seems like it's going to remain steady in that area. Okay, so they're only 0.23% away now. This is pretty tight. This is, I think, the tight, or no, they were at 0.1%, I think, at the tightest. But still, yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see if things really change. If Winnebago County really pulls her through, that could really be what does it. Only 5% of votes have been counted there. And she is she's 12% ahead in that so far, which is good for her. The King Kong pulling for Hong. Little Canada, more like Haley Stevens had over 30 million, Rice Street, Maplewood. And if we go back to Minnesota now, see what's going on. 31% of votes have came in now. And wow, Peggy Flanagan, I love to see it. Peggy. So we have 54.6% now of votes in for Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota, with 31% counted, and 43.6% for AIPAC Angie Craig. Her entire campaign, guys, I mean, again, I showed you, if you go to my investigation section here and you click Minnesota Senate primary, $35.3 million have been spent in this race. And if you look at that, total grant, that's the grand total, 26.2 benefiting Angie Craig and 9 million benefiting Peggy Flanagan. So they were just streaming headlines on TV ads. Now, if I was Abdul Al-Sayed, I would actually look at look at Penny Flanagan's race as something I would kind of want to consider, taking some advice from, for this one reason specifically, that if you look at Peggy Flanagan's race, I want you guys to see where the spending actually went. And outside spending for Peggy Flanagan, 97% of it went towards TV and radio ads. Angie Craig, same exact thing. 98% of it went towards TV and radio ads. Now, why am I bringing up Michigan's primary, and why am I bringing up Abdul Al-Sayed? Because I did an investigation on the Michigan primary as well. But here's the thing. I want you guys to look at outside spending for Abdul Al-Sayed. Only 32% of it went towards TV and radio ads. The vast majority, 38%, went towards digital ads, social media, things to that degree. If I was Abdul Al-Sayed, I would be shifting the share by a lot. I'd be making sure that any outside spending that's coming from whatever unions that are supporting you, make sure that you have to do a lot of TV ad targeting. That's where all of it has to go now. I would really start to look at these other races that are doing the same thing and consider where you're spending the money and where it's going. Because Abdul Al-Sayed already, he's won the social media game. you know, they're going to be putting out a lot of attack headlines and stuff, but on social media, he's already getting the younger vote. He's overperforming there, not overperforming, but he's performing well there. So he should really just constantly, I would shift the share, really start dropping a lot of TV and radio like we're seeing with Peggy Flanagan's campaign. I think they did a good job doing it that way. I do want to go back here to the races. And we're seeing 31% of the votes are in again. Peggy Flanagan looks like she's in a good lead. I'd be happy if I was Peggy. Let's go to the Wisconsin race now. 78% of the votes are in. Wow. Okay. It's very tight now, guys. It's the tightest it's ever been. Look at that. Crowley's just ahead by 0.05%. Oh wow, this is less than 300 votes. What is that, right? Yeah, this is like just 320 votes. That's the only difference now. Am I wrong?
It's insane. It's
yeah,
insane.
No, it's 78%. I think now let's see. I want to see here. Okay, so it just got updated. Oh my God. So, okay, they both went down. So it's still about the same. Now, if we look at where the votes are left, again, if we click the size of the lead, he is ahead in Waukesha County, in Milwaukee County, votes left. Winnebago County, still 5% of votes. I think that's going to be the county. If she wins, it's really going to be what pulls her through right now. Otherwise, she's like a bit over reliant on the city centers. This is a lot tighter than I expected. So, let's see here. Somebody's like, Jimbo, Abdul is winning right now. So Wally says, change your campaign strategy. No, Jimbo, did you listen to what I said? I said Abdul was winning pretty razor thin margins with Haley Stevens. Peggy Flanagan is doing she's performing pretty well. It's not just razor thin here. And she's up against a lot of money too. What she did differently from Abdul's race is that she spent more money, or she had the outside spending more targeted toward TV and radio versus digital ads. Since Abdul needs to win older voters, Black community really should spend more money targeting TV and radio. I think that's pretty good constructive criticism. I've seen a lot of other people say the same thing, actually. So I do want to go back here, though. Still waiting. The Minnesota race is taking a lot longer than expected. Only 31% of the votes are in there. So let's see. Again, still very tight. 78% of the votes are in now for Wisconsin. See, let's go back to this Kornacki guy.
These just add up to, we thought like this would be
populations in the counties potentially they're reporting the last.
Yeah. That's right. If that was like Eau Claire that came last, Green Bay that came last, we said, city of Waukesha brought her a little closer here, I think. 78%, 445. And then again, look what the small incremental updates tick the number up. Like just give me an example. What just one or two that just came in?
Chippewa.
Yeah.
305 new votes. Crowley 139. Hong 83.
Yeah.
Polk 79 new votes. 3924. Washington 402. Crowley 138. Hong 128.
Yeah. I mean, so. Again, Crowley has this working in his favor. The Chippewas of the world, the Iowa counties of the world, the Marinette counties of the world. That keep giving him dozens at a time to pad that, and then, yeah, you're right. Those seem to be like, and we have just been sort of. Dane seems to have really slowed down, but this one is. Whatever comes next here is huge. And we're at 90 in Racine. We had that all come in at once. I think.
Yeah, we just got a Kenosha update.
Yeah.
She nets 26 votes.
26. And that might bring us to all in Kenosha?
Yeah, let's take a look at Kenosha.
Uh-huh.
Keep you updated.
So 418. Holy cow. Well.
When you're counting 26 votes, you know it's a close race.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'll ask you a
I mean, they're
question after
418 votes
Maybe
apart. That's very,
I'll look it up on my
tiny.
own.
And I want to see here. Winnebago County really has to pull her through. It's annoying me that it's only 5% of votes counted, and that's, Hopefully there's a big dump coming from there.
I think there might be still a few precincts out of Kenosha.
It just annoys me. I mean, even if you
okay.
compare state to state, like, why are some states
We
so slow at
should
county? Like,
clarify
what's the malfunction?
potential
Same thing with
recount
counties, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we're also getting to the point here where
How's things going
this
in
might,
Minnesota
you know,
here?
this might land in a
31% of the
range
votes
that,
are in. Peggy Flanagan's doing really well there. I feel pretty
saying
safe with this race, though, guys.
might not
so
be
it's
resolved
nice to see.
tonight.
Recounts are not automatic in Wisconsin, but a trailing candidate may request one if the winning vote margin is less than a percentage point in races where
so
more
much
than
for the
4,000
gift,
votes are
DCA
cast. That's
Stan. I
from
appreciate it.
Associated Press.
Means a lot,
Okay,
guys.
well,
Thanks so
certainly
much for
more than
those sending
4,000 votes
super
are
gifts in
cast. We're at
chats.
1/10 of a point right now. I don't know whoever ends up on the short end here if they'd want to pursue a recount, but that also might be a question for our decision desk. What's the procedure on calling if there is a potential recount? If it falls in a threshold where a recount is permissible, does that affect the call at all?
Oh, they're talking about
I should know this.
potential for recounts. I mean, it's real. It's real
could get
tight.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think our decision desk will get ahead of if it's super close. I think that's been the past precedent, but I'll get clarification from them.
Let me just look at this. Where are we? 7. So I'll just run down the numbers here. 38 by far, at least as of our current estimate from the decision desk, by far the most, well, put it this way. We think right now that there's 172,000 votes left statewide, okay? We think that 38,000 of them come from Milwaukee County, okay? We think that 16,000 come from Winnebago County, that's 54. We think 13 come from Dane. We think 7 come from Waukesha. And we think 6,000 come from Sheboygan, 6,500 from Columbia, right? And we can keep going. Those are the only ones with more.
I'm going to pause right here really quick and show you guys 32% more votes came in from Minnesota, or sorry, 33% of the votes are in now in Minnesota, and benefiting Peggy Flanagan again. She's doing really well. I mean, Minnesotans, I mean, they're doing it real well. They're not buying all this AIPAC BS. And it's not just the city centers, guys. This is a really good map for Minnesota. If I was Peggy, I mean, she's winning all these rural areas here. I'm surprised, winning Democrats up here. This is a lot of forests, a lot of lakes. This is like you get rural here, and she's performing well there. We see, Angie Craig performing like just a little bit ahead in some of these areas here, but no, it's Peggy Flanagan's performing really well. It's nice that she got the suburbs. Seems like Dakota County flipped back for Angie. It's really neck and neck there. Just like, oh, wow. 95% of the votes are in Dakota, and just less than like what she's got in that county by just less than like 50 votes, something ridiculous. She's just Angie Craig is ahead. But overall, it's really nice. I'm enjoying what we're starting to see here. In Wisconsin, we'll go back to the Kornacki Cam. Francisca Hong, still it's very, very tight. And we still have to wait for a lot more votes to come in from Winnebago County. Still 5% of votes have been counted there. We go back here to Kornacki Cam.
And that big puzzle there of Milwaukee, I just don't know what to make of it. It could just be a wash. But, there's the possibility that central count, goes south for Crowley. That's the risk for him there in Milwaukee County. So it's 886 votes statewide for Crowley right now. Now I'm just looking myself. We went to the 6 that account for half of it. I'm just looking for the next rung under that to see what's if anything kind of jumps out. Let me do it this way. Hong's best.
You know what I find interesting is that Peggy Flanagan, don't know if you're still on Gen X Girl, but Peggy Flanagan, she's progressive. She's more
Mm-hmm.
to the left. And all of the polls show that it was neck and neck, and that actually the last poll, the last independent poll that was done showed that it was Craig that was ahead.
Yeah.
And she's up against a lot of money, and here she is, and she's, you know, performing very, very well. And this race, this Hong was supposed to be far ahead, and she was winning all the polls, and it looks like that's not what's happening. So I don't know. These pollsters are just doesn't seem reliable at all. I don't know how they're going about it.
No, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, you know, I recently wrote something about polling and the way they're doing it. So like, what's that guy? The one that's on CNN that everybody, Harry Enton, right? The one that like is all, you know, animated when he does his polling and stuff. So the polling data that he cites often, I started looking at it because it was just, you know, I noticed from week to week, I mean, it was like swinging like up and down. I mean, just real like hard, right? And a lot of times, you know, when you see these polls that say YouGov, a YouGov poll, which often you hear, right? It's at YouGov and everybody kind of thinks like it's like a, you know, official, like a real accredited thing. Well, YouGov, I tested it. Wally, you can literally just go on YouGov, log in, create an account, and start getting paid to do polling. No credentials. There's no ID check. There's no like checking to see if you're even, you know, a U.S. citizen. If you're doing polling on elections, forget about your age. You could just make up everything. I mean, I made up a complete fake account, and I, you know, recorded it to show. It like literally took me to the polling page and said, okay, you're ready to start participating in polling. Well, I could just completely skew the polling. I can just put bogus information. There's nothing to validate it. Yeah. So I noticed that at least with YouGov, it's completely not reliable. So I don't know about all these others, but clearly they've been wrong.
Well, and I think they have to account for open primaries versus non-open. Wait, there was a big dump there, and it looks like it benefited Francisca Hong because it looks like the race is a little bit tighter. 39.96, 39.87, very close now. Let me go back to Kornacki and see what he's saying.
Yeah, we may be done here.
They still show 2 precincts.
They need to be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to figure out the voting methodology.
It was only a small amount there in Sheboygan.
I'm going to honestly look into that myself later.
So there's still a lot to come there. That the amount left there is important because
for sure.
That's such a Crowley-friendly place. Holy cow. Winnebago still just sitting there at 5%. So 1,000. He just got another 124. Where did it come from?
We just got a Milwaukee update.
Is that what it was?
That was not it, but I think we just got it. 9,800 votes. So I don't think that was our central.
It was pretty even.
He wins 38, 32. Yeah.
Wait, say it again.
She gets 38% of the vote. He gets 32%.
What was the raw
about
vote?
500.
16, 13. Geez, yeah. And
561 votes. That's crazy.
See, 152. We should, show folks. Sorry. I said 172,000. We now have about 152,000 left, we think, statewide, with an expected turnout of about 800,000.
Even with the Milwaukee vote remaining, what is that, 16%? If you hover over Milwaukee, that's a very, very tight race.
Still a scattering we haven't heard from at all, but there's
you're talking 53,000 to 52,000 Hong.
Greene County is the biggest with no vote. What do we think is going to...
81%.
How many votes do we think are there?
No, it's very, very tight. Just like less than 1,000.
35... 40. Okay, now that's interesting. 4,600 votes.
So I think what you were saying earlier, Winnebago.
I think that's going to be
is going to be really telling.
In the context of this,
and start reporting.
I think Crowley's going to probably do pretty well there.
That's they get it released.
Bigger piece of real estate, 4,600. That's right there. Where else do we have? We have nothing yet.
Literally just 0.1 away. That's crazy.
We think 3,000. We got
she's
nothing in
ahead. She
Pierce.
just jumped a little bit
we got
ahead.
nothing in Pierce yet. That's an interesting one because I think on paper that I would have said crowd. Again, this is these places where what's kept this from being simple of just like Hong is running up the score in the college towns, blah blah blah. Is she's had some unexpected strong places. I said the bow counties are definitely there.
Oh my
St.
God,
Croix
they're
County
already
is another
like if
one,
you
and
go
now
on
Pierce
X,
County.
all of the conservative accounts.
Oh yeah,
are like,
I love it.
She's
I
gonna
love
die.
It. It's fun
She's
seeing
gonna
them freak out.
Yeah, but they're already.
There's
as
probably
of like
3,000
minutes ago,
votes.
they
No
were
votes
all
yet.
like
There's probably
celebrating that
3,000
she was
votes here.
losing.
It's one of those on paper, I would say, is a
But I
crowded
think
county,
that
but given
if
what
this
happened in
flips
St.
and
Croix,
she wins, they're
all
it's gonna
bets are
be
off.
funny to watch.
So he's like, no more Thanksgiving.
If Hong ends up winning this, I think we're just going to say she.
Oh my God! Imagine if she comes out in her like acceptance speech and says that.
unlikely support in unlikely.
They would
places.
die.
Just if she
He
wins,
says the idea
I think
in left
that'll be
or
the
right
story.
wing, and when
It'll
the
be
situation
that,
is the government is occupied is beyond reason. I truly
won
pity you
St.
people
Croix.
still
It'll
holding
be
on
that
to
she
party.
swept the bow
Yam
counties.
sauce. That's
These
really
aren't
not
things
the case because I think if you've been following along, you
And I
can tell
think
I'm
if you
very
looked at some
outside
of
of
the
party
if you
lines
looked
here.
at
But
some of the
when I say I
numbers
think it's funny
elsewhere in
watching
the state,
the people freak out,
then
I'm
said,
really
okay, now
talking
how do
about
you
it.
think
I
the
find
bow
it very
counties
funny
went? You would've
watching
said
Laura
they'd go to
Loomer
Crowley.
freak out. I
These
find it
things
very
are
funny
not
watching.
necessarily,
Who's that one guy on X?
or
That
for
he's
that
basically
matter,
just like he calls himself like
if. Again,
MAGA.
she's yet to
He's an old
actually
guy. He's from
jump
Texas
in
or whatever. It's
numbers
just that
here.
viral X
And
account.
we've just seen this sort
Oh,
of
the
Gunther.
Gunther. Oh my God! Gunther.
So when I keep talking about, I'm excited to just watch these people freak out. Yam sauce. I'm excited to watch Gunther freak out. There's just some accounts that kind of annoy you, and you're like, okay, this is kind of it's just fun. It's fun. That's all it is.
And to be honest, I mean these accounts, like the ones that you were mentioning, like Gunther, Laura Loomer, some of the other ones I saw today. These people are all Zionists, so there is an, you know what I mean?
There is a connection.
There is a clear connection. It's not.
No, everybody pushing flock cameras is a Zionist. Can we talk about that? Why? How come flock cameras and your obsession with Israel are like hand in hand? There's something very creepy about that.
Oh, absolutely. And so those are the accounts that you see freaking out on X. They're not, because my followers are both right and left. And I'll tell you, like, exactly, like my conservative followers are happy to see these anti-Israel candidates winning. And, their only hope is, when is it our turn? And hoping that 2028 will be.
And I've been rooting. I mean, oh yeah,
and
I'm going to be rooting so hard.
Same.
I'm going to be rooting so hard. It was the Thomas Massey race really made me sad. So I hope that 2028 we're going to see a lot of those America First Republicans pull through.
Of what's left here.
Same.
144,000 votes. 828's the margin. Adam, just tell me, what were the last two? We just got some small ones, but I'm just curious what they are.
Yeah, Shawano was the most recent one, 511. New votes, Crowley, 238. Hong, 155.
Right. Yeah, see, that's it. He's sustained by a lot of that. Sorry, where else were we looking here? Where else is blank? Washburn County up here is going to probably 1,500 votes. We think 1,500 votes. Certainly think that's going to be I would think that's going to be a Crowley County. I would think Crowley. I would have thought Crowley, but I don't know what to think. Look what's happening around there. Where else do we have here that just has absolutely nothing? We think there's probably about 3,000 votes here. I would think that's Crowley, and that's certainly the local pattern. So again, those are all places where this could,
Dane County.
If he gets what I think
Winnebago,
out of a lot of the
still
places
5%.
I just circled, that number could get up to.
I think she could
that
pull
could
through.
knock that up to 1,500. 2,000, somewhere in there.
I think you're right. Kornacki is silently dying on the inside.
Yeah, I think he's
This
Zionist.
is so close.
And then if you're looking at it from Hong's standpoint,
I'm surprised he hasn't.
right? I'm
went
circling these
to the
small
Minnesota
ones.
race at all. I mean, that one is
4,000 here,
taking a
3,000,
while
1,500, all that.
to pull through.
Right
We
here.
did see a
Yeah.
jump here.
She's been doing very well in this
Peggy
area.
Flanagan's doing really good. I love this.
We think there's 16,000 votes left. So, that's the game they've been playing, right? Like, Crowley could take, add a little bit here, add a little bit here, add here, and then Hong could get a big chunk of it, could just slash it all away in Winnebago. She's doing quite well. Did we get a few more in?
Yeah, he's saying the same thing about
Winnebago. Yeah, we got another update in Iowa and Marquette.
How did Iowa break?
242 votes, Crowley 118, Hong 64.
And then Marquette was what?
Crowley nets about 62 votes.
Yeah, just that. Okay. And our 142,000 left. And nothing update-wise, timing-wise, from our friends at the Central Count facility?
No updates right now.
Okay.
Winnebago, so we have to just wait and see. While we're at it, I want to see what people on X are saying about Francisca Hong right now. Seeing some people freak out would be kind of fun. Alrighty, so.
Well, this is a bit like.
Somebody said, update, Francisca Hong has narrowed. Oh, this was drop site news. They've been posting a lot about this race. This is, what is this? This got over 9 million views, this video, she said. What is this?
I wasn't always aware of the struggles of other communities of color, because for me, assimilation always kind of took over. And so I did marry. My proximity to whiteness continues, right? My son is biracial. He's half white and half Korean, and I think navigating, what his identity is and how people perceive him is always at the back of my mind as well.
I'm surprised that it's 50-50. Here's her on Fox News.
The nominee, as another one of your closest competitors who is even far behind you, has dropped out of the race. Is there anything in that list of what you told Hassan Piker that you disavow now?
No.
Okay. Is there anything in the DSA platform that you disagree with?
Yes.
Okay. What would that be?
Abolishing the Senate. I believe it's nonsensical and non-practical at this time.
Okay. Would you abolish the Supreme Court?
No. I
And
believe in checks and balances.
Okay. So do you? So you consider?
Why does she talk like that? I like her. I like her in a funny, like, I want to be friends with her way. But why does she talk like that?
She does. It's a short
It's weird, right?
one-word
She's
answers.
kind of like.
And then
I hate to say it because I hate how Zionist Haley Stevens is, but god damn it, she would be such a fun person. I feel like she's just funny.
she is.
She's so
something.
funny. She's so funny, and I never said this once before I get haters in the comments. I never said this once during the leading up to the primary, but now it's done. She's so damn funny, and if she wasn't Zionist, she would be so like she would just like blow it out of the park. But I just don't. I don't like what is up with that.
Socialist, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just listened to her. They interviewed her after the election, and they kept trying to like push her into like saying something bad. And she just kept with her, the way that she talks. She's just like, I know you want me to do this, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I did see that clip.
I'm a trooper. Yeah, she kept saying that whole trooper thing. I'm a workhorse. I'm a trooper.
It's just like
a good part of it, I think, was cast before people understood this to be a Crowley versus Hong race.
It is.
I'm not sure how much of it, but a good part of it. And then after that, it's Winnebago and Dane. So, if sort of seems as if you could hit the fast forward button a little bit here. And if you were to get the Winnebago and Dane votes all reported out right now, I think this thing would flip and Hong would go into the lead. If it didn't, she'd be in very, very bad shape.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen.
So, but I think she would. Then you have
just looked at the
Winnebago plus Dane Okay, Winnebago plus Dane right now.
But I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Wisconsin. There is it's Democrat. This is a Democratic primary, but still, I'm surprised that there is enough Democrats in Wisconsin that like they listen to. I mean, some of her statements. I grew up in the Midwest, like hearing this said on a mainstream and like resonating with that many Wisconsin voters, even in the Democratic primary. I feel like she's. I don't know. Maybe I guess things have changed a lot since I was in high school.
They have. I was just looking at Winnebago's the age breakdown from the last census. So it looks like about 37% of the county is between 20 and 49. Which is, that's Gen Z and millennials.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
So she's winning the younger vote, definitely. Here, I want to listen to this last part, what she had to say.
Department of War?
Define it?
Well, I think it's take away the money from the Defense Department?
No, I think it's troubling how many times they've failed an audit, and they're one of the highest funded agency. And I think that stewardship of taxpayer dollars is incredibly important, that where there may be fraud, waste, or abuse, that we make sure to vet the agency.
Okay. Would you advocate for public ownership of America's largest corporations, or those in Wisconsin?
I have to say, first of all, we are incredibly proud of our Green Bay Packers, a publicly owned NFL team. But I believe there are some manufacturing and corporation that is irresponsible to have full public control.
Like what?
No, I think it depends.
I don't know
really
why. I feel like this lady's getting ticked off. I feel like this lady, she's just like, can't handle her. It's funny though, because this is the thing. Can somebody please, like, I want to be on a campaign for like some of these progressives that are running. And guys, if you watch my channel, I've always tried to like kind of be a bit like in the middle with it stuff, but I just feel like they don't have the best comebacks because they have such good ammo. Donald Trump, he just bought, didn't the United States just for like the first time purchase shares in a lot of these top companies? There's like 8 public companies now. The United States purchased shares in. They have
37.
37, and 8 of them I think are public. The other ones are private. And they have so much ammo. Like, oh, you know what? No, I'm against communism. So why did Donald Trump do this? Like, they need better ammo. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight.
I know.
I just like, oh, but anyways, let me see. So it's still very close. And they're still waiting for some from Winnebago. It's still 5% votes in. I think that's going to be the thing that flips it. I mean, it really depends. She better hope so. But based on these other cities, it seems like that's going to be the case because she's definitely won the cities. I don't know how he's won Wisconsin so well. I'm like surprised, or sorry, Milwaukee County. I mean, how he's won Milwaukee so much, because I don't know like what's different about this city. I don't know exactly where David Crowley's from and like how much work he's done there. But let
me look.
Now,
we were beginning their process of doing the votes on site there, and then they have a transit process where they bring it to a central place and then report it out. So he was estimating another, maybe midnight Eastern.
Okay,
that
makes sense.
Vote report.
Yeah.
But that's the update we have from Milwaukee.
All right, the late night transit. This is like a tradition, right? I feel like we've broadcast this before. Okay, 11:20. We think now. I mean, when they say midnight, we're always optimistic, right?
Yeah, it feels aggressive to me.
Right.
Given
they
that
never they never take they never go quicker than expected.
I've seen the video before. They take it out of the building. They bring it into the car.
Oh wait! Oh my gosh!
They drive the car.
She's in the lead now. She's in the lead. What in the hell? She is in the lead. She's in the lead. Where did the drop come from? Is it from Winnebago? No, it's how. Where did she get that drop?
Dane, I think it's Dane.
Was it Dane? Oh my gosh! Wait, I want to see him freak out now.
It's
they have to put the oils on it. They do
in the lead, guys.
USB stick. They put
I
in the machine.
I don't know how this chick did it.
It's a ritual for sure.
Good for her, Francisca Hogg.
So we may be waiting a while on Milwaukee absentee. almost 30,000 votes.
Okay, so this is not
what just came in again? Something.
Yeah, we just got a combo of counties. Oneida and Lafayette were the biggest. Hong nets about 30, 40 votes in Oneida, and Crowley nets about 150 in Lafayette.
Okay. Yeah, that puts you again. You're sort of in that driftless. He's generally done well in here. 254 for the first time tonight. I believe Francesca Hung has taken the lead in the statewide tally. That is now with 83% of the vote in statewide. She's taken the lead. It is 254 votes. That update from Dane, you said was how many votes?
6,000, and there was another 700 from Portage as well.
700 from Portage. She won the Portage update?
Yes.
What'd she win the Portage update by?
385 votes.
Gauge how many votes are in those precincts.
Yes.
And
keep in mind, guys, again, this is happening. Again, you said, I think you're right, it is from Dane. And Winnebago County, nothing still. Only 5% of votes there, and she is in the lead there. So that's only going to benefit her as it comes in. So it's like, wow, things are starting to change. In Milwaukee County, where he's performing well, 81% of the votes are in. We see the votes that are left. In Milwaukee, there's 28,000 votes there, but it's not such a big margin to where those 28,000 are going to help, because it might be like 26,000. It might be split between just like 1,000 point, just by a 500 vote difference there. But in Winnebago County, the split there is big enough to where it's going to really help her out. Let's see where else there's some votes left here. Dane County, 14,000. And again, size of lead, I mean, she's up by a lot in Dane County. So every vote that's coming out of Dane County, it's going to drastically help her. Where there's votes left, the size of lead there is not so big. So I think we're going to keep seeing it go in this direction, unless a lot of these rural areas here really pull through. And, so there's like less than 100 votes there, 150 there. Still, there's about 2,600 votes in Vilas County that haven't been accounted for yet, and I would expect to see them benefiting David Crowley, just based on what's around it. So we might have to just kind of wait and see there. But yeah, she's in the lead. Let's kind of go see what's going on here with the Kornacki.
I've been locked in on this thing from the start, because this thing, right back. You're free to come up, Adam, but I'll be super quick.
I'll stay here. Thank you.
Okay.
Crazy. So let's go on X now and see what people are saying, because I'm sure there's some freakouts. AIPAC took an L in Minnesota second primary, calls it for Matt Little. I haven't been following up with this race too much, but Matt Little seems like he won. And I guess that's a good thing. I'm going to follow up with that later. I'll do a video on it. So that's nice to see. Let's check out Francesca Hong. It might be a progressive. Fox News is going to have a lot of content, I guess. They're going to have a lot of content for the next few months.
Another one of your closest.
So let's see where things are coming in. Not looking good for Francesca Hong. That happened, and that was said an hour ago. It looks like things have turned a lot there. Go back to the Wisconsin race. Again, it's real tight, guys. It's just based on 300 votes or so. And then I haven't checked on Minnesota in a while. How are things looking in Minnesota? 36%, just a percent since we've left. But that percent is looking good for Peggy. Things are looking good for Peggy. I feel pretty good with this race here. Okay. 79% of votes in. That was a big jump. Okay, 79% of votes in Minnesota, and Peggy Flanagan is doing real well. I think
wow.
that was a big jump. They're probably going to call it soon, it seems like. Oh yeah, this is massive. This is almost what is that, 40? This is almost like a 20-point difference. I'd say they're going to call it soon. They might just wait for some of these like big counties, but let's see, votes left. Minneapolis, and she's performing well there. They'll probably they just called it. They just called it. What did I say? Peggy Flanagan, you're hearing it first here. Peggy Flanagan has won the Minnesota Democratic primary against AIPAC Angie Craig. She was up against, what was it? She was up against $20 million. Guys, $20 million of Israeli lobby money in dark money spending, and Peggy Flanagan pulled through, not just in the cities, she's pulled through the rural areas too. And AIPAC Angie is out. We can toss her in the dustbin of history. Another one down, another one bites the dust. This is, let's go, baby. Peggy Flanagan. Peggy Flanagan.
Nice.
This is a big deal. You know, the little shit face that was endorsing AIPAC Angie was Pete Buttigieg.
No way.
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg endorsed AIPAC. I do not like Pete. The more I listen to Pete, the more boring he is. Very boring, very establishment, out here endorsing Angie Craig for God knows what reason, while in the same breath also endorsing Abdul El-Sayed now and going on the campaign trail after obviously Haley Stevens lost. But there we go, Peggy Flanagan, Minnesota primary winner. I love to see it. This is wonderful. This is great. And you know what, guys? This is why you really can't trust the polls, because I was expecting to see based on the polls, I was like, shit, this could be tight. I'm going to do a live stream. I'm worried if you guys are going to see me kind of in a bad mood because I really care about this race, but the people have won. People have won.
This is awesome.
I love this. I love it. I love it. Free Palestine. Thanks so much for the super gift, guys. Thanks to those who supported with super gifts and chats. I really appreciate it, guys. Now let's go see what's going on in Wisconsin. Okay, so David Crowley got the lead up again. Still very tight though. 84% of votes are in. However, again, we're still waiting on Winnebago County. 27% of votes though came in Winnebago County, so there was a dump there. Oh wait, it flipped towards David. That's what she didn't want to see. So that might give him the win then. So initially with 5% of votes in, you know what I'm gonna guess is that, which is crazy because it's a city center. So maybe we'll have to wait and see. My guess is the first 5% that got tossed in might have been mail-in, and maybe are mail-ins benefiting progressives though?
I don't know.
Okay. So what I would guess then is that it might have been mail-in that made it look like she was, really doing well in Winnebago, and then some of the election day votes came in and it benefited David. But now with 27 in, I don't know how it could all of a sudden flip again and benefit her. I feel like that's kind of set. That's not good. So I feel like that's what she didn't want to see. But still, it's not a big, massive thing, but I think I don't know where else. Let's see. Kenosha County, 90% of votes are in, so she's really pulled the best she can do there. Dane County, 91% of votes are in. That's not good either. Eau Claire, 91% of votes are in. That's not good either. Green Bay, let's see. Brown County, she was performing really well, 95%. I don't know, guys. I don't know where. I mean, yeah, I think she might. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I think she might lose then. Unless this thing all of a sudden flips. If these were mail-ins, the thing is, you can't. 27% of votes in. It's not this. You would want this to flip totally. Like, you would want this to be like 60-30 or something, and now she's right now below. That's not a good sign. And I'm trying to see, like, where else could she be getting votes from? In Vilas County, there are 3,000 votes there, about 2,600. Nothing's been reported. However, based on the area, I would assume that that's going to benefit Crowley. So I don't want to. So, unless that's not the case. In Buffalo County, decent amount of votes, like 1,000 there. It's a rural county. Looks like though it's going to benefit David Crowley. So. Yeah, she really needed that Winnebago County. Not good for her there. And then Green Lake County, also rural. Based on what I'm seeing on the map here, it looks like he's going to win those votes there too, but we'll have to wait and see. That kind of changed my perspective on this race. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like she's going down now. But that's, whatever. It's like one race. I was, I think it's fine. This is this is not that good. But Minnesota, guys, I mean, Angie Craig's gone, and I'd say this is wonderful. Peggy Flanagan, she really pulled it off. So, ooh, Hong really surprised us. I know it did.
That is really a story because the top two Senate candidates, Haley Stevens, Angie Craig, where they have dumped millions and millions of dollars, both lost. This is incredible. This is really incredible.
I'm happy.
I'm very happy.
And I wasn't even really following along this race too much. I heard in Minnesota too, an AIPAC candidate also lost in Minnesota District 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Little won his primary, and this was going against Matthew Klein, and Kayla Berg. So that's good. Things are changing. If I was AIPAC, I would not be happy right now. And the Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, Minnesota, that Senate seat is like safe. So that's good. So now we have somebody with Chris Van Hollen. I love this. Is wonderful. If we can get Abdul in, not only are we having, a switch now, but we're having some like actual politicians that will support Palestine, and they're going to be in senators. They're going to be in office for a while. Fetterman's probably losing his mind knowing that he has new colleagues in the Senate like Peggy.
Oh yeah, for sure. By tomorrow, he's going to probably announce that he's going to leave the party.
Oh, 100%. He's going to switch.
Which I don't think anybody's going to miss him because he doesn't even vote left, so it's like, who cares?
No, absolutely not. Okay, cool. Well, I think I'm gonna kind of guess too early, but based on the data, I feel like David Crowley most likely won Wisconsin because Winnebago County is the only thing that could have benefited him, unless these are still all mail-in or something. And all of a sudden now we're going to see a flip, which with 29% of the votes in, I'm not suspecting as much. Then I don't see where else she's going to win. Where is she going to get votes from?
It's real close though, Wally. I mean, you're talking, oh, wait, it just jumped. So he's now ahead 1,200 votes.
Yeah, no, because if it's tight in an area, yeah, it keeps dropping for her. It's fine. I think they're gonna probably call it in a little bit here because it's the city centers. They're probably gonna wait till till Winnebago County gets to 60%, and they'll probably call it. Again, I don't want to there might be, it might all of a sudden flip. These might be mail-ins or something. Who's to say? But so far, I don't suspect so. And then Buffalo County, I'm going to assume that's going to go towards him, but we'll have to wait till a little bit of, and Vilas County came in 95% of votes that all just dropped, and it all went towards, benefited David 42-31. So that's where he got a big drop from there too. So she might get Pierce County, an ex-urban county, but I don't see how many votes. 3,000 from there. She might be maybe she could win from 500 votes net from there. But otherwise, where are there votes left? Milwaukee County, where he's ahead. 14,000 votes left in Madison, but the size of the lead is 44-37. So maybe she could get an extra 2,000 from there. I don't know. We won Peggy, the Holy Spirit also. So anyways, yeah, let's see what Kornacki has to say.
Happening here, or is Crowley doing essentially unexpectedly well here? Is what we're trying to figure out. But yeah, to put this in some context too, just how high these turnouts are. Do I have it in front of me here? I mean, I think we're getting fringe-like presidential primary level with this turnout. I think they had like 900,000 for the Biden-Sanders primary. Does that sound right?
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, they're at, and the expected here is 814. Okay. So we said we think 38,000 remaining in Milwaukee. Remember, I say these are moving targets. And if you are watching closely, you know that is higher than we said a little while ago. Dane, 15, okay. Winnebago, 12,000. That's unclear. Let me reset this. Let me just do 12,000, 15,000, 38,000. Okay? Those are the only 3 counties with more than 10,000 votes left. Only one more county has more than 5,000 votes left. It's right here, Columbia County, that has 6,000 votes left.
So if we stop here, he's up in the 12 and 38. So it's not going to benefit her there. He's ahead in both of these. So that's not good, meaning that she's fully relying on Madison to pull her through and make up for the gains here and net her, which is going to be tough. Unless Winnebago County all of a sudden flips
everything
again,
else
which I can't
that's
see
out
that
in the
happening.
state has fewer than 5. He, I think, can look forward with great optimism to whatever it is that remains in Madison. If that ever gets reported out, I feel like they have just been sitting on this number for a long time there now.
Steve?
Yeah.
I do have an update for you out of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So there are 9 municipalities that report their absentee ballots at the central location. 4 of them have reported. So it's Milwaukee and 4 other municipalities that will be kind of, I think that accounts for the updated vote. We know that Milwaukee's somewhere around 28,000.
Right.
And there's 10,000 more outside of that. And I think that, some of these other municipalities account for that.
Or central count. Or just municipalities we don't have any votes from.
It's their absentee ballots at the central location. And again, 4 of those counties have reported. So we have gotten some of those mixed in already, but 4 of them still have outstanding.
Wait, but no, I understand. So there are 9 municipalities in Milwaukee County that use central count for their absentee and for their early.
Yep.
You're saying we've got is our decision desk saying that they think this 38,000 is all coming out of central count?
28,000 central count from Milwaukee.
From Milwaukee, but is the other 10 central count for other cities?
Yes.
So it is all coming out of central count?
Yes.
Right. I mean, so okay, it's all absentee, is what I'm saying.
I think that's right. Yes.
Okay, that's the. I mean, that's. Can we just double check on that, because that's so important, because if we're looking at nearly 40,000 votes that are absentee or early, you know what I'm saying, right? How many of those votes were cast in July? How many of those votes were cast for Mandela Barnes, for Sarah Rodriguez? How many of those votes were cast when Crowley looked like he was going to be an afterthought in this campaign? If you're Crowley,
that could make a big deal.
He has the advantage, and he's building it in these small places right now. He has the advantage in the tally right now, is what I'm trying to say. But Hong has a big bunch of votes, I think, from you saw what those Dane updates can do. She can get a couple more of those. She may be able to get, I'm very suspicious that what happened in Brown is going to happen in Winnebago. Okay, so between 15,000 votes in Dane and potentially a repeat of what happened in Brown happening in Dane, that could get her, that could erase a lot of that. Then, if there's nearly 40,000 votes just sitting there that were cast at the lowest moment, they weren't all cast in July. They were not all cast in July, but how many of them were? And does that take a batch of votes from a place that Crowley's doing pretty well in, that's his home base, And does that end up making him underperform with it? And I truly have no idea what to expect with this. It's just, I think if you remember at the start of the night, we said if the stop Hong forces get close but just miss, would it be because of all of the votes that were cast in that, vote by mail? When Mandela Barnes dropped out, which I think was July 30th, I think they were like one day into early voting. So it's a little bit of early voting and a lot of mail. All cast when no voter thought this was a two-way race between Crowley and Hong. And this batch of votes is going to test if that could end up testing whether that makes the difference here. Now, Hong has to get in front. Well, doesn't have to get in front first, because again, if this batch of votes were really bad for Crowley, Hong might do better than him with it. Or maybe it's less of an issue than I'm talking it up to be, and it's quite fine for Crowley. It's a huge,
there's something
huge unknown.
Andrew at the decision desk is, was looking at the question that you posed earlier about those Milwaukee County votes. He thinks, so all the places that are listed as having outstanding vote on the website, the municipalities, have reported election day vote. So what is outstanding would be the absentee and early vote. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
That can make a big difference.
I see something just came in that was about 300 votes positive for Hong. What was it?
That was Pierce.
Okay. Yes. That just, you got to love, a primary night like this. It's just confounds. Is that the proper use? Confounds your expectations?
Yeah.
I shouldn't try to sound smart, but like I would have looked at this and said, this is Crowley country tonight.
Yeah.
And she wins St. Croix, and this is what I'm saying. I think it's population centers to some degree.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, suburbs. But yeah, Pierce and St. Croix, I would have
also
put
find it
firmly
interesting,
in the
guys,
Crowley
that
category, and Hong wins them both.
AOC was asked why, if she endorses her, and she said she's she's focusing on other races. I thought that was interesting. Why would you know what I mean? I don't know if Gen X girl, if you're still there and you saw that
about
clip.
120,000 votes, we think, left statewide.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was just looking at the schizophrenic betting on Kelshi and Polymarket. They don't know what to make of it.
I don't know if you heard, but so basically there's 40,000 votes left in Milwaukee, but they're all expected to be absentee or early voting.
Prior to it getting
So that basically saying they have no idea what's going to happen with those 40,000, because so far it's all benefited Crowley, but they've all been election day, and they haven't dropped any of the early voting ballots in, which they're going to do with 40,000, and that could totally flip things.
Wow.
So who knows? And that could 40,000 is a lot. So if it's really in support of her,
that is a lot.
I don't know why did you see the clip of AOC? And they asked her if they endorsed her, and she said, "Oh, I'm like focusing on other races." Yeah. What was that? Yeah. Do you think it's because AOC thinks she's too radical or something?
Probably. I don't know.
She saw the Thanksgiving video, and she was "Damn it!"
AOC has goals of running for the presidency.
I know. I think she's trying to moderate.
What do you think it is? You're watching this as closely as I am. What do you think that's going to look like? He just got Crowley just got something huge. What was it?
We got a Milwaukee update.
Oh my goodness. What do we get?
We got 4,500 votes. Crowley gets 2,556. Hong gets 1,568.
Is this being reported out from Central Count?
Let me see what, yes. So now Oak Creek, Wauwatosa, West Allis, and South Milwaukee all reported. So then Milwaukee is still just the remaining.
That was, how many votes was that?
That was 4,536.
Okay. And we think that was Central, but you see what I'm getting at. If that was Central Count and he won it.
Yeah.
Can we just be sure of that?
Yeah, so those municipalities were previously not reporting, and now they're reporting, and the only one that's left not reporting is the city of Milwaukee.
I think something else just came in.
Oconto, 2,611 votes. Crowley, 1,185.
Pulling him ahead.
Hong 743.
Yep. That is potentially blockbuster, what just happened in Milwaukee. That's why I want to be so sure that I'm characterizing this correctly as central count, because if it is a very emphatic answer to the question we've been posing about what that vote looks like. All these things about when the vote was cast and is there a penalty. Crowley just did you saw it. You saw it. Now, that's. Well, let's just let.
Andrew at the decision desk also thinks that what's just remaining is the 28,000 from central count from the city of Milwaukee.
Sure, but he thinks that was specifically central count that just came in.
Yes.
Well, if you're at Crowley headquarters now, that is the single biggest piece of news you've had all night, I think. That's huge. That's huge. What were the percentages on that vote that just came in?
Yeah, I don't think she's going to make it then.
The Milwaukee update?
Yeah. The Milwaukee County update that we just got. What percent did he get? What percent did she get?
He got 50%. She got 35%.
Wow. I mean, this is how much. It's astounding to me, given how much this vote, I think, comes from a different time in the campaign, that he did that well. He did better. He's running at 43.8% countywide, and we're saying from absentee vote, he did 50%. That's crazy. I mean, that's wow. That blows my mind. That's just massive for him, because that obviously sets the stage for Milwaukee. If it shows that with the central count, there was no, there's no apparent price that he paid for that coming from a potentially a lot of that coming from July or something. So, wow.
It is, mail and early votes. So it's possible that those municipalities just skewed more towards the early vote. That could be one of the explanations. But
it is that combination, and we weren't sure what the mix was, and we weren't. So listen, if that is foreshadowing what is to come from the city of Milwaukee, now that's just outlying versus city, although I don't know that we were seeing a huge difference between the two. I see another update just came in for Crowley. What was it?
Iowa. 1,165 total votes. Crowley wins 467. Hong 406.
Yeah. Wow. I think we just had a very major moment. I mean Iowa, but I'm still hung up on that, because listen, if the central count in Milwaukee goes anything like what we just saw, I think he opens this
she really
thing up.
Needed Winnebago. She lost it, but
that was a 15-point margin. If he were to do that in central count, with 28,000, 2,800, 40. If that were to replicate, it would net him 4,200 additional votes, and this thing would move close to 7,000. Yeah. That's a huge if, but just to give you a sense of it. And if he then got up 7,000, where could she counter that?
It's still,
And
the difference is close to 3,000 now,
something else just came in small, but I want to register these.
I know.
Manitowoc.
Manitowoc.
Sorry about that. 798 votes. Crowley 348. Hong 246.
Because again, if he were to, we're saying 14,000 currently. Did we just get a slight Dane update? I see or we just adjusted the expected a little. I'm seeing 14,000 expected here, right? So like if Hong were to win that by, her best updates have been about 15, 20 points. Say it was 20. She could.
I wish her luck, but I'm going to have to jump off, Wally. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining. Probably going to hop off.
This is fun.
No, it was fun. I appreciate it. I like the commentary. Ugh.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I appreciate it. Take care of Gen X, girl. Good night. Bye. All right, guys, it's just us now.
Which currently we're done. Right, that's the thing, right? Like, I think if 14,000 is
for those who have been tuning in, if you want to support me, super gifts and chats, I'd really appreciate it.
Is the actual remaining vote in Dane,
guys.
And Crowley and Hong won it by 20 points, which I think is being given her a pretty, pretty generous,
goal here for,
kind of what if total there. That would basically wipe that to zero. Okay.
Chats, there we go.
Then you're sitting looking at those Milwaukee central count numbers where we just said if maybe the city isn't as friendly to Crowley as the outlying areas. I don't know, but he just won the outlying areas in that update 15 points. If he won 28,000, a batch of 28,000 votes by 15 points, he nets 4,200. If he wins it by half that, it still nets 2,000. You see, so it's kind of like best case Hong, Dane wipes this to even statewide. And now I think something surprising would have to happen with that vote by mail, early vote Milwaukee, for that not to immediately, for when it comes in, to then put Crowley back up by some number of votes in the 4 digits. And then what's left? Winnebago, where I do suspect, I keep saying this again, it could be wrong. We're making kind of on-air guesses here. I do suspect the 12,000 there in Winnebago are going to mimic what we had in Brown. Suspect, I don't know.
I do have an update from Milwaukee County. I am just spying in on one of the local news broadcasts that was, they were streaming live from inside the central counting location, and they're now outside. So it's possible these votes are making moves.
Wait, the people broadcasting have been moved outside?
And there was a camera, and they were watching them process the ballots inside a location. Remember, they have to bring it from the one location to the other.
Right.
That camera's now outside, so.
Okay. This is like waiting for the Pope, right? You're looking for the smoke.
We're looking for any signals we can.
Plumes of smoke, they'll tell us.
That's the update I have, yeah.
They'll tell us. But yeah, I just, that update, that.
We just got another one from Grant County.
Yeah.
Another 750 votes. Crowley 349, Hong 210.
Yeah, they're adding up for him. Now if you're Hong, you need what would you need a essentially a surprise in this Milwaukee number. Can we make a case for why that would happen? I guess the case we would make is city of Milwaukee as opposed to one of the sort of inner suburbs of Milwaukee County. So it can be much younger, right? Can be much more demographically friendly to Hong in that way. We find that these DSA candidacies take off in the cities and not necessarily the inner suburbs of these places. So that said, we've also found
they're getting into the car.
Okay, but where's the? This is to go to or from?
This is to go from the place that they were kind of loading the ballots onto USB sticks or memory drives to the location that they can put them in the machine so they can be reported out to us here at 30 Rockefeller Plaza.
Why can't they do that in one place?
I don't know.
So wait, I'm so bad with the technical. Just tell you one more time. So people can appreciate what's happening.
David Crowley there.
We say central count.
Yes.
They got all these ballots there.
Yeah.
Okay. They counted them?
Yes, they're counted and processed and loaded onto memory sticks.
Memory sticks, literally something the size of a stick of gum?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And then they're transporting them over to, I don't know, believe it's the courthouse where they can be reported out.
What?
Or they can be transmitted.
That's what they do? They put them
So
on
you're saying
memory
they're
sticks
now
and they
in the
transport them
motorcade
over?
on their way over?
That's right.
Is there like sirens and what does it look like?
It looks like a car driving in the middle of the night in Milwaukee.
I hope they don't just drive off or something.
I find it entertaining. I don't know. I'm sure everybody at home would as well. But
I mean, this is what we
just got a Columbia update as well.
Yep.
2,800 votes. Crowley 1,252. Hong 950.
she's going to need something. She's going to need. I mean, this is really coming. I think if you're Crowley, you're feeling better than Hong right now, and I think she needs something out of this central count Milwaukee number that. I say surprising, but we're trying to make the case for what that would be. How we just saw him win central count inner suburb Milwaukee County by 15. She would want to win this by something like that. Yeah.
Oh, one clarification from our correspondent, Shaq Brewster. He's not there, but he has reported there in the past.
Yeah.
They're moving from the city to the county facility, and then they report them out from the county facility.
So the Milwaukee Central Count has done its thing.
The city, yes.
Right. And now they're transporting but okay, they still just have to put these.
Yeah, it's still the same process, just the
okay,
technical.
so we are
how that's happening.
Is Shaq writing to you? Can you ask him how long would he estimate if they're now en route? How long till they actually tell us the number? Does he have?
Yeah,
can he remember?
I can ask him.
Okay,
Crazy.
He knows he's lived through
this Peggy race.
Joy of this.
She won by a landslide. Peggy, I'm happy.
Yeah, Hong would need. I think she clearly she needs to win it. And maybe it is. Maybe it's totally different than the gap between. I'm sitting here saying I think in Winnebago County there's going to be like a small town city divide. So maybe there is here too with this vote. But as you can see, look, just this number can change, okay? But it hasn't moved that much in our estimate. Yeah.
I had two updates, one from Shaq and one from the decision desk. There was about a 30-minute gap between when it left the city location to the county location before it got reported out to us.
Okay, thank you, Shaq. That would take us to 12:30.
You know what, guys? Okay. I'm gonna be honest. While they're getting more stuff, I've been following the Peggy race down. I've been up on that Peggy race. This one I haven't been, so I'm going to tell you as somebody that's only been absorbing the propaganda they've been putting online, they've put way too much propaganda on that girl and Thanksgiving. Francisca Hong, all I know about her, because I haven't been following this race, I've been really focused on the Peggy Flanagan one, all I know is about her and Thanksgiving. That is it. They flooded the internet with her saying that she doesn't like something about her and Thanksgiving. So these election day voters, they're probably getting fed this propaganda nonstop. I think that played a big role in it because I think I'm a lot more online than the average person. I haven't been following up this race as much, and that's the only the Thanksgiving thing, the fact that she keeps bringing up white race or something. This is what they keep trying to toss out into the media about this race. So that's where I think you're seeing this sort of thing where you're just seeing it in the big city centers. And in general, progressives are really going to need to figure out a way if they want to, win generals too, of how to cut through all of this all of this media where they just pick the big buzzwords, and they broadcast it everywhere and they make people think that they're up against communists or something. That's going to kind of be their battle, and they can figure out a way to win that. But that's just kind of giving you my take on the whole thing there.
You said it was
forward to the front now.
Here's the big one. One of the big ones. Oh, biggest city in the state. So, to update you, we think there are 109,000 votes left statewide. And now Adam, our system is still saying 34,000 in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think 28 was our estimate earlier. I think it could be above that. I think it could be that number, but you go to their county website, they have one place that has yet to report their ballot, and it's Milwaukee. So
okay, so I
just would have to go with what they say.
It may be 34,000. It may be 34,000 in this update. I'm just trying to make, yes, I do want to make sure that would change the math if it was 28,000 central count and 6,000 non.
Yep.
That 6,000 non, I think, has a good chance of being Hong. So that's why I just And this has ticked down to 108. And that Crowley lead sits at 3,400, half of a percent. What else can we say while we wait?
Thanks so much for the gift, Lisa. I really appreciate it. Means a lot. Lisa gifted finger hearts. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody so far that's been sending super gifts and chats. It means a lot. It really helps me out too. So thank you guys.
Great. And I think to the polling question too, I think there was a lot of thinking about what happened with the polls last week that led to a closer race than possible, or than it seemed due to the polling results. This is another one where it seems margin-wise a big miss, but as you've been talking about, so much changed in the past 3 days, 5 days, 7 days of this race, where, the most recent poll I saw, wasn't yesterday. It was a couple of weeks ago. And so I think, there's reason to think that, again, a lot of things changed in the final week of this election.
It reminds me, we'll see.
Yeah, so basically where we're at now, is she's fully really just relying now, and it's not a good thing to rely on. I mean, Madison's is benefiting her. That says there's 14,000 votes there. The size of the lead there is, it's okay, 44 to 37. So she could maybe get, a little bit of a lead from that. And then Milwaukee, though, is benefiting Crowley, and that's where there's a lot of votes left. They said that they're mail-in or absentee, so maybe there's just a batch of mail-in ballots that just ended up benefiting Hong, and they're just waiting on them to drop. That could really be, that's basically all they're hoping out for. They're basically saying there's that what-if possibility, and that's really it. Otherwise, she's doing well in Eau Claire, but how many votes left, or how many votes there are left? Just 2,000. And the size of the lead there, 46 to 33. So she might pick up an extra, few hundred votes net there. But it's not a massive. It won't be able to make up for that 3,000 gain. So let's go back here now.
And the thing I was thinking is, I remember there was a controversy that week leading into South Carolina where he was asked.
Thanks for the 440 joules, Tulio. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
He gave an answer that was I think it had the effect of making Democrats say, oh gosh, if we nominate him, is this going to be what happens all fall? And I thought of that when I heard the Thanksgiving stuff with her. So I don't know, but that's one.
Wait, what did he say about Thanksgiving?
This is the pundit-free zone. No more punditry.
What did he say about Thanksgiving? Did he bring up the Thanksgiving thing? I really think that Thanksgiving clip really just did a dent on her. I don't know how one clip could do so much damage, but I really feel like it was. I started seeing mass tweets saying, if you vote for Francisca Hong, you're never going to have Thanksgiving again. And you know what? Even though we laugh at that and we think that nobody could actually be affected by that, I promise you there are some people that are going to be that are going to actually take that seriously, and it'll actually drive their vote. That'll be the thing. They'll be like, this lady's going to end Thanksgiving, and they'll take it seriously. I mean, the fear tactics work.
How about Winnebago? Can we get Winnebago doesn't do central count, right? Oh, they do. Wait. Oh. Oshkosh does central count.
Yeah.
We're still at 108,000. Boy, this does remind me of
somebody said
of last week.
Well, Johnny, I think you're right, Johnny. Wally, look at how many people voted in the Republican primary versus the Dem one. I think Republicans voted for Crowley in the Dem race. I think so, too. I think it's the same thing that happened with Abdul's race. So they're still waiting on some more drops there. Yeah, who knows? Maybe the Winnebago County, something massive happens, and all of a sudden she flips it and she ends up getting it. That could really help her out. Otherwise, there's 33,000 votes in Milwaukee County. She's really going to have to rely on that. And so far, it doesn't seem like anything coming out of there is good for her. Let's see. Yeah, 3,400 point difference there. Thanks so much, Mohammed, for the gift. I appreciate it. 350 jewels. I really appreciate the support, guys. It is very tight though. And then Minnesota, I know Peggy Flanagan already won. I just want to see how things come as the votes update. This is a big blow for AIPAC. You know, they spent, you know, and I love it. I love when AIPAC spends money.
32.
It's so good. The more money AIPAC spends and loses, the better, because that means that the money that AIPAC spent in the primaries is money that they're not going to have to spend in the generals. As much as it feels like AIPAC has like never-ending pockets, still, you know, $60 million AIPAC dropped for Haley. They lost that. $20 million for Angie Craig. They lost that. It makes a difference. So.
Bayfield, 315 new votes. Crowley, 116. Hong, 113.
Yep.
And Calumet, 3,466 new votes. Hong wins 1,371. Crowley, 1,290.
So we're down to 104,000 votes. A third of it, a little bit less than a third of it, is just that Milwaukee.
Talking a little bit to the decision desk, they do think that the expected vote number currently in our system for Dane is a little too high.
High?
We think it's under 1,000 votes.
Wait, we think it's under, pardon me, we think it's under 1,000 votes?
Yes, because the Dane County website currently says 280 of 281 precincts reporting. So we're probably just waiting for one precinct.
Whoa.
Oh, that wouldn't be good.
Oh, that's huge. I know I'm like asking the same thing 3 times, but it's so big, I just want to make sure I understand this.
Yeah.
We don't think there's 14,000 votes left in Dane. We think there's less than 1,000.
That's right.
That's wow. I mean, the Hong math. So this is so important to the Hong math. And the well may be dry for her in Dane County. Wow. So
the only precinct that I don't see as reported on the Dane County website is one precinct in Madison.
It's in Madison. Could be. Do you have the precinct results in front of you, or like? Yeah. Give us a sample of how many votes. Can you see like a really good precinct for how many raw votes? How many votes did she get versus him?
If that's the case, then it's all Milwaukee.
Yes. So.
Unless there's some magical drop in Milwaukee that everything that's happened previously is not going to be the same, then you could just assume that. I think that I can confidently feel like I think it's going to be Crowley unless there's some magical mail-in ballot drop. This is what I'm saying, guys. You can't have progressives if progressives want to win, they really got to get out to the rural. You don't want to see anything like this. You want to see more like this, where you even have the rural voting progressive. Like that's something that's crazy. And it's like the complete opposite of what you're seeing here in this race.
You know, she may be able to knock from what's left in Dane County. Okay, she may be able to knock 350 votes off this total. That's it. A minute ago, we're sitting here thinking there's 14,000 votes left, and she could take a big chunk of this. Okay, no longer. Now we're saying that maybe she's able to take what is currently a 33-81 deficit, and like best case, she knocks that down to 3,000 flat with what's left in Dane. Okay. 12,000 in Winnebago.
It does look like the Milwaukee city votes have arrived at the county location.
Are you back watching the video?
I'm watching the video.
So describe it. Narrator, what's going on?
There's a woman at a desk doing some paperwork.
Well, how do you see the votes coming in? Where do you?
They'll put them. I'm sure they're doing the paperwork to the machine. The reporter at VoteBeat estimates another 25 minutes.
I like Shaq's estimate better. That takes us to 12.
So we should be getting a big.
I will let you know if I see a memory stick or something.
Thanks so much to whoever just decided to subscribe, guys. If you're not a subscriber and you want somebody who's a little bit more anti-establishment and AIPAC critical, shoot me a follow. I'd appreciate it.
We're to knock this down to 3. Well, now, did we just get another update?
Yeah, we got 2,200 votes out of Chippewa.
Yeah.
Hong gets 942. Crowley gets 724.
Okay. Once again,
for a little bit.
Completely defying my expectations. A solid Crowley County. She actually nets a little bit there. So, okay, but again, we were thinking there's like 14,000 votes left in Dane. Doesn't look like there are. Looks like there might be 1,000 at best. If Hong were to net 350 out of it right now, that she could knock this down to 2,800. Big outstanding source of votes in Winnebago. Again, if it kind of mimics Brown, but what do we think is left in Winnebago? We think 12,000 votes are left there.
What's your take on Thanksgiving? I love Thanksgiving. I love stuffing. My family, I have a Palestinian American family, and you guys would be surprised. We have like 100-person Thanksgiving. I invite all of my some of my closest friends. We all just kind of come and it's a big cookout. So we're very pro Thanksgiving here in my family's house.
If she wins, if she were to win that Milwaukee, that Milwaukee vote. But you
guys want to know something funny, actually, for those who don't know much about Palestinians? So basically, what my mom will do, we'll have the turkey because you have to have turkey. But typically, we'll have the turkey, but the meat is so dry. And so we'll have the turkey, we'll have some like chicken, and then we'll have a really, really big like lamb. And we'll usually have the lamb, and that'll be the main thing. But we'll do the turkey just because I like the stuffing more than I actually like the turkey meat. So we'll get a big turkey, we'll do it for the photo op and everything. But we'll have a lot of chicken, and also big lamb, a lot of Arab Palestinian desserts and stuff. I think it's actually my top favorite holiday, just because of the amount of food we always have.
10 points. If Hong beats Crowley by 10 points, and if it is 34,000, I think we're not quite sure, but I think if it is 34,000, she could net 3,400 with that. So, if she wins it by 15, 5,000, a little bit more than 5,000. But I think she needs to see something like that. She needs to see something like that, some kind of double-digit win, I think, with this Milwaukee central count, because it's not coming from Dane for her anymore. She could make a dent from Winnebago. But I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm kind of assuming that it's going to line up with the other Bow counties, and that it's going to be like Brown County, where it kind of comes in. It was a late kind of push for her from Oshkosh, but maybe not. And outside of that, as we tick down to 102,000 left statewide.
The woman that was doing paperwork at the table has left the table and went to the other room. That's promising to me.
Is there only one person in this room, or is this like?
There's press and other auxiliary.
Everybody's
officials.
watching one woman at a table?
So odd, yes. The way that they do it with a damn USB drive.
Where are you watching this, by the way? Not that I want people switching away from the...
58 News Milwaukee.
Okay, tell me how are we getting this when it comes out? Do they make a public declaration? Do they...
We get it the same way we've gotten all the other results, is they'll upload it into the system and it'll be distributed out to clients.
Thank you, Mo.
Just like our reporter.
For the gift, guy. I really appreciate it. For those who are watching, if you are not a subscriber, definitely consider subscribing if you want to support me and you like this commentary. And if you are already and you want to support me even more, super gifts and chats are awesome, guys. I appreciate it. And if you're not a member yet, definitely consider joining as a member. Click the join button below next to the subscribe button to join as a member now as well and support
Central
me.
Count in Milwaukee.
I do feel like I've watched this this process play out a couple times at this point.
I think I've asked you the same questions a couple times too, and you're very polite to continue answering them.
No, it's fun to watch it with you. We just got another Burnett County update. 773 votes. Crowley 291. Hong 256.
Which takes us. Did we get more than that, or they just dialed back our expected? Oh, I think that we're now at 92,000 remaining. So I think we just dialed back our expected a little.
Yeah, it looks like they took away or they made that adjustment
Dane.
for the Dane vote.
Oh, it is. Yep, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where she's going to get votes left then. It's not looking good. Eau Claire,
3468. Yeah, I mean, so now that Milwaukee vote is, well over a third.
And we just got another update from Dane, 500 votes. Hong 271, Crowley 166.
So she nets 95 votes. Out of what? Is that it for Dane? Is that the last thing for Dane? Is that the last precinct?
Their website now says 100% of precincts reporting.
Jeez. Now our that takes us down to 89,000 statewide. And that in our Milwaukee, again, these are moving targets. Milwaukee 32. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I think you've asked them before, but can you ask them, do they think that 32 is all? They must. At this point, the whole, of course it is, because everybody's at this one building. Believe it or not, the outside of Milwaukee, I mean, so right,
Shack Flags from Charles Benson, one of our NBC affiliate reporters. Thumb drives have arrived at the central count. We should have numbers on the 27,000 early absentee ballots in the next 30 minutes.
27,000?
Yes.
So can we ask our decision desk?
Okay.
We're hearing 27,000. Where's the 32?
I'll get clarity, but as you saw with that, Dane, I think because the vote has gone up so much throughout the night, as you saw with that Dane update, they were aggressive with how many potentially might be coming, and it appears that Dane vote is now exhausted. But I will get an update from Milwaukee.
Please. Okay, thank you. Because that's our reporter telling us 27,000, and we had heard 28, and it matters from the standpoint that, look, if it's 27,000, and the math, 27,000. If Hong wins it by 10, she nets 2,700 votes, right? Which is short. 32,000. If she wins it by 10, she nets 3,200, 1,700 votes, 17 votes higher than that. It just every vote obviously matters here in this situation. But she's clearly going to have to win it big. She's just going to have to win that batch big. Whatever its exact size, because then we're waiting on.
Let's see what people are saying on social media now.
Milwaukee and Oshkosh, Winnebago County, make up more than half of the remaining vote.
Just got an update in Shawano County. 1,569 votes. Crowley 676. Hong 519.
Yep. And so it just ticks up a little bit. It just ticks up a little bit. See, that's the thing. He gets outside of Milwaukee and Winnebago. We think maybe 3,600 votes left.
Our decision desk thinks 28,000 sitting in Milwaukee.
28,000. Okay. So do we think this 32 is going to tick down?
I don't know if we have control over that number.
Okay.
So
I see.
Just keep track of that number for our audience.
That 86 may even be more like 82.
Yeah.
28,000 Milwaukee, 12,000 Winnebago.
I mean, she's really going to have to pull some sort of like miracle. While we're waiting for this next poll to update, I do want to show you guys here Peggy Flanagan's victory party. So let me play this 25-second clip here. Go Peggy, go! Go Peggy, go! Go Peggy, go! Have you guys ever been to one of these things? I want to go to one of these so bad. They just look so fun. Everybody like, I don't like, oh, imagine how nice it would have been if Thomas Massey won his race. That would have been like something. Thomas Massey won. Imagine that sort of victory party. Regardless, it's fine. It passed. It's in the past now. I need to move on. I do want to go to one of these victory parties. I'm going to go to one for the general election. I don't know like how you get the in, if you need like a ticket, what it is, but they just like, it looks like such a good time. So let's see what's going on here.
You know, but then for every place like that, you know, there's Manitowoc County where Crowley is leading by 20 points, 15 precincts left. Monroe County, Crowley is leading by 9, still a couple dozen precincts left. Small. Columbia, Crowley by 15, still, you know, so just a lot. I just see a lot of those. Well, Columbia is a little bit bigger relative to this, but you see a lot of places where this Crowley thing can tick up, and now Hong has to get a big batch somewhere, and that's going to have to be Milwaukee. Do we have anything going on at this? What are we actually, Milwaukee? Was it Wisconsin 58, Milwaukee 58? What are we?
I've unfortunately lost eyes on the rooms, but
the rooms.
Yeah.
But we did just get an update from Monroe County. 593 new votes. It looks like Crowley nets about 30.
Yeah, so he's.
All for sale says call it already. I want them to call it too, but they have to just wait for this last stump because I think it's all a big bunch of mail-ins, so it could really dictate, like, you know, it could just be random and she ends up like you know, really knocking it out of the water with that. But aside from that, that's really going to be it.
Feeling like I'm ready to hear from Milwaukee.
Me too.
So while he's waiting on that, let's see what else is going on social media. The Peggy Flanagan race, guys, you know, that just really, I'm so happy to hear that. Craig tells people, to every person that supported me, I ask you tonight to support and elect Peggy Flanagan as the next U.S. Senator. Okay, well, it's nice to see that. So that was cool. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan won the Minnesota Democratic Senate primary in the latest victory for an insurgent progressive over the party's establishment. Interesting. Peggy Flanagan won the Minnesota Democratic primary. Okay, so it looks like we just got a little bit of votes. Didn't really do Francisca Hong too well there. Do another refresh here. Everybody's really happy about AIPAC Angie losing. So this is good. To see how everybody else, everybody's really talking about the Peggy race, which has honestly been awesome to see. Go Peggy, go. Let's see what's happening here in Wisconsin. It doesn't look like anything's changed yet. They're going to call it immediately after this last drop.
Our total expected vote for this primary is, excuse me, I'm not bored by that. I just, you know, everybody in here must be, I think they're ready for Milwaukee too.
I agree, JJ World Tour, both Senate and House races, but I find it interesting just to see.
Which is just, it just nuts, when you think about how high these turnouts have gotten compared to not that long ago. But I am curious what people think.
Is there any hope for Hong to win? I think it's slim. Basically, they're just waiting on 28,000 votes, which are apparently in some sort of USB drive. It sounds very sus, but they're all supposed to be either absentee or mail-in, which is why they're worth holding on to, because those absentee or mail-in tend to be drastically different from election day votes. Is it going to be different enough that 28,000 of them, and she's going to be, she's going to all of a sudden miraculously be 3,000 in the lead? I'm going to be honest. I feel like the answer is no, especially because they're coming from Milwaukee. And I mean, look at this. Milwaukee here is already totally benefiting David Crowley. So unless like for some reason that batch really helped her out or something, and it was just at a certain period where she was ahead, this is also Milwaukee's like where he's from. I feel like the chance is low, but it could just be a miraculous drop. And I think the second they get that drop, they're going to probably call it, because the rest is going to basically really benefit him.
Talking about votes cast, I thought in the central count, inner suburb Milwaukee County, that it was not going to go great for Crowley for all the reasons I said about when some of these votes might have been cast. Did not appear to be an issue whatsoever for him. Is it going to be an issue in the city of Milwaukee central count? Somebody else just came in, I think, that gave him a couple. He's got a boost somewhere.
Yeah, Columbia County, 4,182 votes.
Yeah.
Crowley, 1,810. Hong, 1,345.
Yeah. It's
not looking too good.
It's going to have to be real big for Hong. It's going to have to be.
We just got a Winnebago update.
Oh, it just look, knocked a ton of it out.
So that was 8,000 votes. Hong, 3,765.
That was
Crowley,
a big jump.
2,890.
Pause it for you guys so you can see just what happened there. That might be the jump. That's a really good jump for her. So basically, what just happened? Oh, Winnebago went purple. Wait, yeah, Winnebago went purple. It went purple. So, wow, okay, this is what we're talking about. And look at it, 76% of the votes are in. She now. Not the kind of purple you want to see. So 76% of the votes are in, and now she's in the lead there, but it's 43% to 40. What she was hoping for was it to be something like 60 to 40, something big like that. But still, it's good. So now that brought her closer. Now they're only like 3,000, basically 3,000 votes. So that helped her. However, so now we're still waiting on votes left. Winnebago, 4,000 votes remaining there. And if you base it off the size of the lead, though, 4,000 votes left. Maybe she'll be able to pull, what is it? She might be able to net another 500 from there, let's say. Chip away, he'll be down to 2,500 lead. And then it really just comes down to whatever the hell is going to happen in Milwaukee. It says estimated votes left is 31,000. So that's really it. But that does help her. And then, where else are votes left? They already counted really Madison. There's another update. She just gained a little bit more. So there you go. So that's good. So again, it really just comes down to whatever the hell's happening in Milwaukee. Otherwise, what's going on in Otagami? I know I'm mispronouncing that county. So she's also in the lead there. But most of the votes have already been counted. But it is tighter now. So it's really Winnebago and Otagama County. Those could really help her out. And then Eau Claire, there's 2,000 votes there, and she has a good lead there, so she might be able to get 300 net there. So that could help her out. So I don't know. It's really tight, though. She's going to need like a miracle. But I mean, she just got a nice big jump.
There's probably 2,400 votes left right there. OK, down here in Grant County, Crowley also running up the score is about 24. That's
still tight.
There's about 2,400 votes left here. We think about 2,400 votes left here. I think you expect pretty good Crowley numbers in both of those places. And then combined between the two of them, there's about 7,500 votes that are left between Outagamie and Winnebago County, right? So it's about.
Now the difference is just 2,600. So it is tighter.
There's 28 here. You know, what are we at statewide? We think there's about 70,000 votes statewide.
We got another Outagamie and Ashland update.
Okay, what just happened in Outagamie?
Outagamie was dead even, 348 apiece.
Wow, okay.
Ashland, Hong gets 651, Crowley 336.
651 to 336.
Okay, so she also just gained a little bit there too. So yeah, it's closer. It's closer. So she's making some numbers. Eau Claire is gonna help her out. 2,000 votes there. Maybe she'll get 300 to chip away at him. And then again here, I think she has Winnebago and Outagamie. That's good. And then it really just comes down to Milwaukee. Greene County's benefiting him, Crowley. So let's see where else there's some votes left. There's some votes left in Grant County, but so far it looks like they're going to benefit him. 38% of the votes are in there, and he's been ahead so far. So there's that. And then, yeah, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the Milwaukee dump.
Like at some point we're getting more of this, and that's going to be good for Crowley. At some point we're getting more of this, and I think it's going to be good for Crowley. So you certainly see the places on the map still where that number can go up. It looks like there's still vote to come in Eau Claire, where we saw she put up a huge number the last time we got an update. It looks like actually, I think there might still be some vote. Yeah, there's still vote. So look, okay, Eau Claire, Portage, Winnebago, Outagamie, Portage 17, Eau Claire 18, that's 35, Outagamie 25, that's 60. So between those four that I just circled, that's about 10,000 total votes that are left that to some degree I think could go Hong's way. Right, and then what else here? Oh shoot, I just pressed this. Bayfield has
also 1,000 votes left in Bayfield.
She's leading in.
There's 1,000 votes left up here in Bayfield. Okay, so we just got another drop. Okay, it benefited him a little bit. So where did that come from? It looks like we got a little bit from Grant there. Go here. So she is in a pretty good lead there in Outagamie, but 90% of the votes are in there. Winnebago County, 76% now is in. So, then what's going on in Mantecoa? I know I'm butchering these words, guys, but so that benefits him. It's really tight. I don't know. She's going to really have to like pull through.
We're at the point now where we can say I think half of what's left really is Milwaukee. A little bit less, but right around there. Anything on this? I think we're now at the time that our friend.
We are indeed, yeah.
It's coming.
I'm refreshing the Milwaukee County website fairly often at this point, and obviously monitoring our election feed.
Hey,
nothing new in live pictures, but yeah.
I feel like I've seen this before.
I mean, it's gonna have to be a real miracle for all of a sudden, like he's really doing well. Crowley's really doing well in the Milwaukee area, and all of a sudden a mail-in drop comes, and it just happened to be at a time where it just benefits Hong. It's possible. I mean, we see weird stuff happening, so it could be the case. But like, it's gonna have to be a big jump for him, or for her. But that's really it. And then Winnebago, 76%. There's only 4,000 votes left there. She might be able to net 200 maybe, so to chip away at him, but that's not going to be enough of a lead. So that's really it, guys. We'll see. Things have been changing.
26,000. Oh no, that's in-person absentee too. I see. 15,000 of this is going to be vote by mail. 15,000 and change. 10,000 and change is going to be in-person absentee early. So that's an important thing here. A little bit more than half of the vote that we're looking at here is at least potentially from that July period when this race was in flux, because it's that vote by mail. A lot of it is in-person absentee, less than half, but fair amount. Okay. What am I looking at here? City of Milwaukee. And is this video showing anything?
Yes, my friends at 58 News have now posted just a shot of the board that they have, which is the same board that you find on the Milwaukee, which showing which municipalities have reported their central vote and which have not. And City of Milwaukee is the only one with without a check mark.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. A miracle is going to have to happen for Hong. Miracles happen, though, so we'll see. It's going to have to be a big one.
I got the spring election results up. I don't need that. 28,000 votes. City of Milwaukee. How's it going to break? Right? 28,000, if it broke for Hong by 10 points, would basically make this a tie statewide. 28,000, if it, broke for Hong by 5, she'd be down 1,400 votes. Facing if it breaks for Crowley by 10, this thing is then.
Guys, I'm just sad because I just found out about this girl, like really the past week. I've been seeing these clips and I just think she's funny. I think she's funny to listen to. So I'm like, I would have liked to, I wanted her to stay around a bit longer. It would have been some good content for the next month. But so I'm just hoping, like, let her pull through. I've been enjoying it. So we'll see.
Don't let me. We're all just waiting on Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Where else could Milwaukee? Like I'm gonna just suddenly find it, but. I just found the thing you showed me with the list of everything with the check marks.
Yeah, and Hong just gave a speech, and I think
she did.
Yeah,
what did she say?
I think she thanked her supporter. I don't have a readout exactly.
Okay.
But,
okay.
She didn't.
Heck of a time to give the speech.
Yeah. Maybe she has a speech at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
How am I going to do this?
I don't know. We could still get a car for you if you need it.
I get sleep. I can't. All right. Everybody really cares about my sleeping. You guys are staying up. I'm not complaining. You guys work tomorrow too. If you're watching this, this is great. I'm glad we got to stay up and do this. This is like these are fun nights.
Oh my god. I'm like holding it, just hoping for the drop. I'm gonna do it.
Don't know
it's
what
like a mental thing. You could do it.
To expect.
Sorry.
I mean, this whole. From that first update, right? Was it Jefferson County is the first thing we got, right? We got like 3 updates in about a 5-minute succession there. And right away I was like, I was so hesitant to say it at first because we just didn't, but it was like, yeah, he's definitely made this a game. And then, yeah, he's just all night, but for about.
It stopped or you stopped?
But been right there. And an emphatic number in the city of Milwaukee could put her ahead.
While we wait, let's see. Sometimes I've noticed that AP is dropping the score. So 92% are in. Again, she's yeah, it's kind of stuck where it's been at. In the meantime, let's see what's going on here with everybody. Bernie Sanders congratulated Peggy Flanagan. Peggy Flanagan posted, I'm truly honored and humbled to be the Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate. I love you, Minnesota. Nice to see that. Bernie Sanders probably really enjoying it right now. Oh, let's see what Elizabeth Warren had to say.
Bruce and Bailey and I will take a celebratory walk in the morning. But for right now, it's congratulations, Peggy. And a reminder to all of America that money doesn't always win, that sometimes what wins is getting out there and putting on the right fight for people. So happy about this. Everybody's going to celebrate for at least a couple of hours, and then it's back to work to make this an election victory in November. So anybody who wants to celebrate, send your $5 to peggyflanagan.com.
Interesting. I like it. So let's see what's going on here. Plus 0.01 for Francisca Hong. Let's see how things are going.
Asking again about the recount rules, and we did mention it earlier.
Inside of 1%.
Inside of 1%.
By candidate request, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So there's no nothing automatic triggered, but this could live on if it's close enough.
Yeah, and if Crowley were to win this update substantially, he could get this up to a point. It's 4/10 right now. If he were to win this thing by we saw him win the inner suburb by 15 points, right? So if he, again, 15 points with this batch we're about to get would be 4,200, net 4,200. It would push this over 7,000. I don't know if we're expecting that, but just to give you a range of possibilities here.
Happening. I do want to go back here. I mean, look at this Minnesota. This is what you want to see as a progressive while we're waiting for the Wisconsin thing. Like Peggy Flanagan, wow. 20 points. She won by 20 points. That's not tight. She did well. And here's the thing. Look at this. She won. Now, Duluth obviously is a city, but over here, even in the rural areas, the fact that she's winning rural areas all the way up here, as somebody that's running as a progressive, that's a big deal. She did really well. Obviously, she got dark purple in the city centers. That's expected, but she even still outwon in here. That's what you kind of wanted to see for something like this. But we obviously saw the exact opposite, where you're over relying on the city centers. If you're a progressive, knowing the fact that you're going to be outspent and you're going to be called a communist and everything else, you got to really you got to just spend the vast majority of your time on the ground in the rural areas is what I would do, because you have the city centers locked in. I guess in this one case though, Milwaukee, it didn't end up working out, but that's also because Crowley's from Milwaukee. He's been there for a while, so he has rep there. But otherwise, you don't want to rely too much on cities as a progressive candidate.
$28.56. Let me just check this thing if there's any update. Yeah, I mean the only update is the ever evolving, but now I think it's. I said it might really be in the mid 60s. It is 64,000. Is what we think the remaining vote is. 63,000. Yeah, Winnebago, green. So.
Yeah. Brush here and see what else is going on.
Milwaukee, come on. Milwaukee.
Oh wow! So Angie Craig.
What can we do to get this out? What can we do?
Angie Craig already congratulated Peggy. Peggy Flanagan's commitment to Minnesota and dedication to improving the lives of everyone around her is admirable. I offer her my wholehearted support. Michelle Tafoya that's the Republican running, is a threat to our democracy. It's time for Minnesota to come together and keep this city seat blue. Peggy Flanagan for U.S. Senate. Now, I think it's a pretty strong blue Senate seat, if I'm not mistaken. Is there want to see polls for the general, but I think I'm not too concerned about this race. I think it's a pretty strong blue state. Minnesota's always been pretty strong blue. So not too concerned there. But, you know, what I have been surprised by is seeing these AIPAC politicians rile up and, you know, quickly. Angie did it. Haley Stevens did it. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you want to understand AIPAC Angie a little bit, I think we give a little bit too much credit sometimes to politicians, to how much politicians are bought out. Now, don't get me wrong. Believe me, it makes a lot of money. But I also want you guys to remember, so Angie Craig, her wife, she's lesbian. Her wife is a Jewish Zionist who has family in Israel. Somebody asked Angie Craig, there was a video circulating somewhere, and it was a lady, and she asks Angie Craig, like, what's your stance on Israel? What's up with it? And she's like, oh, well, you know, my wife has family in Israel. So there's like some ideological things. This lady, she was never going to shift. Whether you gave her $1, whether you gave her $10 million, she's pro-Israel through and through for ideological reasons. Regardless, like, thank God she's not. She's just like, she lost. It's nice to see her rile up in support of Peggy, because there are going to be those, like, you know, there are going to be those pro-Israel people that you're going to still need to keep on the Democrat side in order for her to win. It's nice to see them coming out and supporting. Haley Stevens supporting Abdul. It's nice to see, but that's just to give you a little bit of context there as well. And yeah, we're still waiting on this, whatever vote dump is going to come out of Milwaukee. So we're still waiting on that. See what Kornacki's up to.
And while we're waiting on this, we can say we'll be back next Tuesday for Florida.
And they're still waiting on that dump. And then let me keep refreshing here. Yeah, so Ryan Grimm stated Bernie Warren backed Peggy Flanagan is well ahead of Angie Craig. Oh yeah, that was like an hour ago. So yeah, interesting to see. AIPAC tracker posted AIPAC's Angie Craig has been defeated by Peggy Flanagan. Wonderful, wonderful. And we'll go back here. 93% of the votes are in. Still haven't received an update yet on this governor's race here for Wisconsin. Keep refreshing and see what's going on. The Israel lobby poured millions. This is Gen X girl, by the way, is the girl that the lady that I had speaking for like the first 2-3 hours of the live. By the way, guys, this is who was on the live speaking with us. The Israel lobby poured millions into 3 must-win Senate candidates. 2 lost. Chris Papa's primaries on September 8th. Let's make it 3 losses. That's wonderful. Pro-Israel network losing. You know, who would have thought? Who would have thought? Okay, so it looks like we just got a dump of votes, and it didn't really seem like it changed much. Benefited Kelda Roy as the third running for the Democratic primary here. Let's go back and see what's going on.
5 is like 3 hours, but it's really only 2 because you pick up the hour at the time zone.
Somebody was asking if you have a favorite dinosaur. That's their prompt.
Favorite dinosaur?
Yeah.
Okay, they're talking about dinosaurs. We don't need to hear that for right now. And then let's see. Clearest win for progressives is Minnesota 2. I am happy to see that Matt Little. I don't know who this Matt Little guy, but apparently he's a non-AIPAC politician that did win. That's good to see. I would like to reach out and try to interview him. I'd like to do that. So that's, yeah, I'm happy to see that. Let's see what else. Miriam Khan has won her Kentucky Senate District 2 and will become Kentucky's first DSA state senator. Okay, this is a state race. Let's see. Matt Lindell is refusing to concede the Republican primary for Minnesota governor. He claims there are anomalies in the vote totals that his team will be looking at. Interesting. So there is that. Let's go back here.
Canyon, yeah.
I was thinking about Tuberville, obviously. In Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. They're just like kind of talking as they wait for things to come in. See what else is going on. Again, everybody's just really happy with Peggy. I'm really happy to see just John Fetterman's going to just be, you could tell John Fetterman's probably fuming right now. That ogre. Bernie back, Peggy Flanagan wins. Yeah, everybody's just really happy about Peggy. Juliana Stratton. Isn't this the AIPAC shill? This lady, it is, isn't it? I remember this face. This is the AIPAC show. What is she posting? Congratulations to my friend Peggy Flanagan. Peggy Flanagan spent her career standing up for the working families of Minnesota. Tonight, her hard work paid off. Interesting, considering how pro-Israel this lady is. I find that's just quite interesting. So let's see. Let's go back to the race here. Did we get a vote drop? It just didn't seem like it changed too much. And gonna refresh one more time here. See what else is going on. Oh my gosh, they're just posting this video of her. AIPAC Angie lost. Here's a clip of her.
Tina Smith. You have been one of my dearest mentors and friends for many years. You've shown Minnesota what it looks like to always put people first. And you've done it with integrity and courage and a sharp sense of humor that I know I'll miss in the United States Senate. I have learned so much from you, and I am so grateful to have your support in this campaign.
Interesting. So let's go back here. Any changes? Not yet.
I've seen those population centers in the outlying parts of these counties. Greene, where he's doing well. Monroe, where he's doing well. Eau Claire, where she's doing well. And once you get,
yeah, it's 31,000 point difference there. I don't know why it's like frozen. Let me refresh the screen while we wait on that. And then, come on. All right, while we do, we can go back here. So far, nothing's really changed. Still stuck at 93%.
Update right now.
Okay, there we go.
And I'm trying to understand what's happening.
oh, well, listen, yeah.
He's waiting. Is something going to change? I don't know. It's interesting that he's just kind of like silent on like live television.
We just got a Sheboygan update.
For Crowley, I can see. Which knocks us down to.
What is going on with this dude? I'm so confused. Lindell will not concede. Claims there are anomalies.
And I'm just reading the closed captioning, and so I don't have the fullest grasp of.
What is this race about? Let me see. Is there a statement he made? I'm so curious. This guy's not conceding his race. He thinks. This is. I hope he like freaked out. It would kind of be a funny video. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, it's all photos so far. We're not seeing any clips. Nobody's gonna play a clip of that.
Percent in, and there's 25%. Hold on, I'm getting blinded by our cameraman here. Okay, there's 25% of the vote in, and you see I'm down to Lisa Dameth. This is very similar. Stay where you're at, please. This is very similar to the summer of 2022 in the Kerry Lake race in Arizona. In that race, all the early vote was counted first, and by 11 o'clock at night, I was on the phone with Kerry. She was down by a lot. Then the votes came in, which we know we were very strong today across Minnesota. And when they came in, she had the lead by 1 a.m. Of course, then we know they shut down the.
Okay, so yeah, I guess he's just gonna do a lot of that. See what's going on here.
Vote process again, and then bring it back to the county.
Are we talking hours?
At least the drive back, whatever they have to do, and the drive back. It would feel that way, given we got the 30-minute watch process started at 11, and it's now 1 a.m.
Okay. There's no traffic at this hour.
Yeah, guys, sorry. They said it's going to be hours, and I really need to use. I can't hold it. I have to go. So I am gonna cut it here. I think today is a great day. I think this is awesome. Peggy Flanagan. I'm gonna go to Minnesota. my family's there, so I'll have an excuse. My mom's been wanting me to go visit her anyway, so I guess this will be my excuse. I'm gonna go. I'd like to interview Peggy Flanagan. Let's see if I can make it happen. I think tonight's been a good night. Whatever happens with this honk race, you know what? It's we got some good Senate races won. AIPAC down, AIPAC's fuming. That's what we want to see. And hopefully in 2028, we start to see some Republicans also. We start to see some America First Republicans come in. I'd love to see Thomas Massie take back his seat. I'd like to see more of the America First movement in the Republican Party. I'm shooting for 2028. It's going to be a really interesting election year. I'm excited. Otherwise, if you guys like this video, please super gifts and chats, or just click the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. Helps me reach more people like you. Hope you guys enjoyed this election live stream. Let me know if you have any feedback, if you want me to do something better for upcoming election live streams. If you've enjoyed this, if you want me to do more, the more feedback, the merrier. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye, everybody.